Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the joint Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance special meeting. The topic will be budget presentations this evening. We have Suzanne Witkowski on Zoom, Ken Beausoleil on Zoom, and myself to make a quorum for Board of Selectmen. For the Board of Finance tonight, we have Nicola Krzyzanowski, Dave Johnson, Robert Wurge, and Brian Lynch. Nicola's in the Zoom audience, so we have 4 members of the Board of Finance, so we meet a quorum. So we will begin with citizen comments at this time, and I remind everybody that we will have citizen comments after each section that's being presented. But for now, I will open up the floor to citizen comments to anybody in the Zoom audience. Are there any citizen comments in the Zoom audience? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we will move to the live audience. Any citizen comments here tonight? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we will move right along to the first budget presentation for the evening, and that will be the inlands wetlands, and then into the conservation. And Dan Malo, if you want to come and have a seat near the mic so people can hear you.
Hi, everybody. Dan Malo. I'm the town's conservation agent and wetlands agent. We're talking about at this moment the wetlands.
Yep.
Wetlands proposes no changes in the discretionary items, but there is one item, the shared land use clerk, that is being proposed. So there's inefficiencies in our land use department. Some of that is mostly administrative, clerical support. There is a lot of distraction from the technical role of these positions, and a shared secretarial clerk is the ideal person to be the first line of defense with a customer, answering the phone, processing invoices, POs. It's a lot of these tasks interrupt the work that is required by statute for wetlands. And also a shared secretarial clerk can improve communication through this permitting pipeline. Because everything that has to go through wetlands usually has to go also through zoning and through to building. That we don't have someone to unite our offices, which are in 3 different locations in the building, is a hindrance to our operation on the town level. So I propose an expenditure of $9,500 shared with a match from planning and zoning, a total salary of $19,000 for a 16-hour a week part-time shared clerical help at $22.95 an hour over 52 weeks. This position is modeled after one that's similar in Woodstock, and I've provided human resources and the Board of Selectmen job description of that particular role. Besides that, it was recommended by finance a 2.2% increase in the officer salary and the secretarial salary for our recording secretary. The big question is with this combined inland wetlands officer and conservation officer has been how to break out the salary. And I think we've reached a compromise of splitting it right down the middle. Regarding the hours that's devoted to each position, that's to be determined as I understand it. And this is a new position being combined as it is. So there's still some procedural stuff to work out there. But the most recent job description for this position combined is $60,000. We proposed $30,000 from the wetlands account to be placed in the wetlands account for that service. This proposed ask here represents a 33% increase over the previous budget for that commission. Mostly tied up in the secretarial. But I know it's difficult to say the salaries that I'm working under presently has been cobbled together. And now we're trying to formalize it. I do have the Wetlands Commission Chair here. Who has a comment or two?
Yeah, I do. May I take a comment?
Sure.
Okay, hi, I'm George O'Neill. For those people that don't know me, I'm the chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission. And I want to compliment and add to what Dan brought up. There are basically four issues that I think the finance and the Board of Selectmen need to be aware of, or at least recognize. There are 4 points. Up till 24 months ago, we were operating in this town with 2 individuals, Carolyn Werge and Marla Butts, who were extensively experienced, decades of experience, and a great contribution and asset to the town. In my view, they were essentially donating a lot of their time because with their years of experience, the market rate they're far below market rate. But they didn't mind that because they were doing a great job. This is important to consider when we start looking to the future as to how we're going to fill that combined position. Unfortunately, Carolyn passed and Marla's moved on, and since last fall. And as a result, we have Dan pulling both jobs. And notwithstanding his almost a decade of experience in multiple tasks, he's been substantially burdened and has voiced his concerns and being overwhelmed essentially by the number of activities, the amount of workload. Now, certainly an administrative assistant would be helpful, but again, that's going to be basically split 3 ways between inland wetlands, conservation, and planning and zoning, and all come under the auspices of, sounds like, planning and zoning. So that's something to consider. Another is that the change in the planning and zoning regulations has created an exponential increase in activity for these land use commissions. And it's something that's a good thing for the town because we're having growth and that kind of thing. But at the same time, I think you need to consider that it takes informed analysis to take a look at these applications and to identify the inland wetlands and how they need to be protected. It's a federal oversight for that under the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Act, and each town has its activity. Another thing to remember is that historically, you build your property on the high ground. So what's left is today in 2024 and in the future is perhaps a lot more sensitive, environmentally sensitive land. So it takes more analysis, more time for the land use staff to address it. And then the issue of a combined job, which has been addressed here, is something that consider how that works. It's a challenge. The concern I have as the chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission, and I leave the Conservation Commission to speak on their own, is that the span of control, meaning making somebody responsible for something, giving them the authority to do it, and have them being accountable for doing it. So these issues, which are more management directed, are a concern as how that's going to work out. If you have the right person, perhaps it can, depending on the workload. So those are the basic elements that I would touch on. I'll leave you with the thought, one of my old bosses always reminded me that whose food I eat is whose song I sing. It's an old Chinese proverb. And for those that aren't Eastern oriented, I'd turn to Matthew 6:24-26, where no person can serve 2 masters, and I'll let you fill in the rest. So just some considerations. I think the compensation level at 60,000, where you took 2 budgets that combined them, where you really had 2 individuals that were really twice the capacity. You need to look at the numbers on that. And I'd say 60 to 100,000 makes more sense to me. But those are my comments. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Just a question regarding, I don't have any problem with a joint inland wetlands conservation officer. I do have a problem with keeping the commission separate. I worked for 27 years on the Inland Wetlands Commission. And It worked fine. I realize today there's much more activity going on. But I don't particularly care for the split. If we're gonna have an officer, let him serve under one commission instead of having two bosses. He'll have one boss. It makes a big difference for the conservation officer.
Any other questions for Dan, or Dan, anything else you want to share?
Previously, the commissions were combined.
Yeah, I know. I served for 27 years on it.
There's rationales that were presented to break them apart.
I understand that as well.
Do you want to do?
Yeah, move on to
The next one.
conservation.
I actually got a question, yeah,
Yep.
sorry. My question was, when you use the terminology shared land use clerk, and above that it says inland wetland secretary. What are the
Inland Wetlands
differences?
Secretary is the recording secretary. The recording secretary provides minutes, files agendas, but it's not administrative or clerical support such as greeting residents at, through the door, or answering the phone, or answering basic questions.
Yep, so that's what those hours are consumed, and you used a different terminology as clerk.
A clerk helps administer the permitting operation. They do provide basic questions. Commonly, a clerk for a land use commission does perform secretarial work. It's not drafting of minutes or preparation of agenda. Those fall with a recording
Understood,
secretary.
Understood. So outside of the recording secretary, are there duties for this clerk, are there duties outside of general secretarial duties? Admin duties? Are there special?
It's proposed, you could add all sorts of duties to a base job description.
You could, but I'm asking, like in this case with these hours for the need that you have.
Yep.
Are they strictly administrative, or are they administrative and other?
It'd be administrative.
Okay, and I guess, Bill, I would suggest, I think it's great if you have a person that's supporting two different areas from an administrative point of view, that's fine. It's the hours work that are needed. So if we add the hours here, then we'll get a feel for, we'll get in other words, if it's three people and each of them are working 10 hours, it's 30 hours. If it's one person working 30 hours, it's 30 hours, right? So it might help us in that regard, tracking it.
And I think at this point, it's one person, 16 hours.
Right. Yes.
And there is discussion about moving offices, so those three departments would be together.
That line item is not one person, 16 hours, if I heard it correctly. That line item is one person.
The shared land use clerk?
And that's split evenly. That contribution is for inland wetlands, the evenly with planning and zoning requesting the same number.
16 hours.
Yeah, no, 8 hours.
So that line is 8 hours.
You have
That line
some-
is 8
let's see if
hours.
you have
Okay.
some in the con- oh, no, you don't.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to get confused with 16 hours when it's
It
8.
was too. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we can
sorry.
just, no, that's okay. I think if we stick with the hours, because we had this come up in another department too, which again, is fine. I think if that's a better way to do it, someone that knows the halls and knows the people. So I'm not challenging that. I think it will help us understand.
I think down the road, ideally, this would be in a department budget.
Agreed.
But where we're at now, we are trying to get the ball rolling on this discussion, because
Yeah.
it's been a need. I think there's a lot of room for efficiency and a lot of room to fix some problems of inefficiency. Just to start this discussion with a shared clerical.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave, real quick. And then if they're admins, I think we should put admin. If they're clerks, we'll put clerks, My viewpoint on that would be if they're interchangeable, if it's a skill set that could work in different departments, it should be the same name. If it's a specialized skill set that department needs, then it's a different name, because it's whatever that specialized skill set is.
Yeah, this isn't specialized. It would benefit from some municipal experience.
Yeah,
But
preferred.
otherwise, does not involve technical, land use
Okay,
decision making.
thank you.
Amy?
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Johnson.
Going back to the joint commission, looking at the inland wetland secretary and the conservation secretary, we're looking at two different numbers here. And when you compare the inland conservation officer and the conservation officer, the inland wetlands officer versus the conservation, we're seeing a similar compensation. No criticism being offered, but if in fact we faced a similar situation in the future and where there was an attempt to hire two individuals versus one individual, I think the way this is listed is disproportional and may affect the hiring of a new individual in the future.
It could be balanced, based on how many hours are devoted labor wise.
This is what Rob is getting at
Yeah,
too.
yeah, so it's never gonna be
I
perfect in
mean,
every.
we're
kind of
looking
week.
at two secretaries whose compensation is different.
So
It could be the same person, it could be two secretaries. Then looking at the inland wetland officer, and conservation officer, we don't see the same proportion or split. And I agree with Rob, if we looked at it on an hourly basis,
the
whatever comes in
conservation,
the future is not a problem.
the conservation secretary line, that is also a recording secretary. No,
Right.
shared clerical is
Right.
proposed for
This-
Is it the
conservation.
same person, or is it two different individuals?
Well, we
For,
have two
for
secretaries.
planning and zoning and wetlands.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking at that position, I'm
He's
looking
talking
at
about the recording secretaries.
recording secretary.
The recording secretary role for inland wetlands has more, is more involved.
I'm not arguing that point.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is the numbers that I'm reading here are significantly different
Are you talking the 4,264?
than the 1,871.
Right.
And I think it probably is
But
driven by
that's
volume of meetings.
Volume
to
of
guess.
work within the meetings and length of
I
time.
have no problem
Okay,
with that.
but all I'm saying is every commissioner board is a little bit different, and
I
it's always been.
Yeah,
an issue.
what I'm referring back to is the position of the officer, the inland wetland officer and the conservation officer. And I would like to see that split proportionally. So in the future, if the Board of Selectmen is hiring a replacement and the job is split at that point in time, I would not want to base it on the salaries that I see in front of me.
Okay, I get what you're saying, and I think if I can answer it, we have gone back and forth to the point that the commissions were involved. And initially, Bill had proposed the entire salary going into inlands wetlands. That was debunked, that's the right word, by the commissions who thought, no, it should be split in some manner.
And
this
I have
was
no
the
problem with
compromise.
that.
Right,
But when I look at the numbers here, 30 and 30, I have a problem with that.
right. And I would probably agree with you.
Thank you.
Because it's a different proportion of work.
Right.
My
So-
question again, is it one individual that does the Inland Wetlands Commission and the conservation, is it the same person?
So right now, I'm the agent for both commissions, or the
The
officer.
recording secretary, that's all I want to know. All right, is it one individual for both commissions or is it two different individuals?
Presently, it's one individual that works both of those commissions. It could be just a separate individual. Ultimately,
So it's one individual doing both.
yeah,
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
And I don't have any problem with the split for the secretary.
it was
Right.
hard to find this,
When change comes, it's difficult. It
Yeah.
presents problems.
We've always been soft on that.
Any questions from the boards, the Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance? I'm listening in on Zoom. Again, on inland wetlands.
Be pushed out of it. Thank you.
welcome.
Okay, I'm not hearing any. Do we need to or want to, is there anything you want to add,
Thank
Dan,
you, Don.
about conservation, or do we need to go through conservation?
Conservation is fairly straightforward.
Okay,
Does not propose any share of that shared clerical help.
okay,
The 2.2% recommended increases for the officer and the recording secretary have been applied to that budget. The only other thing is I recommend removing some archaic budget lines that haven't been used in years. The enforcement officer is the officer. And the Wyndham County Soil and Water, it's not something we've paid out for a while. I don't know if that contribution is even requested or exists anymore. I do have Judy here, the chair,
Yes.
if you had any.
I can just address the question about the Wyndham County. The Eastern Connecticut Conservation District formerly was divided into Wyndham County and London County. So previously Thompson, being part of Wyndham County, had contributed to the Wyndham County Soil and Water Conservation District. But when the commissions, the two counties were combined into one commission, it became Eastern Connecticut Conservation District. So that's where that old line item came from, and it's been hanging around, but it's been zeroed out for years.
Great, thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
And those 2.2% salary increases represented overall 10% over the previous from 29,687 to 32,656 proposed.
Any questions?
Not a question, but just a confirmation. So I heard we acknowledged the 30,000 and 30,000 split was not too actual. Are we going back to change that? Is that what we acknowledge it, but I mean, we're agreeing that
Right.
that we should put it, because I think where Dave was going is later, you then resplit it. And it should have been 45 and 15, making that up. You have it at 30, and the group that's at 30, they come and say, I have 15 hours more work. So it does get confusing later, but are we in agreement that we should split that to as close, it's never gonna be perfect, but try to allocate it as close as we
I think
can.
if hours are listed, would solve the problem,
Okay.
That'd be another way to allocate it. You can
you
use
know,
hours.
and allocate it
Simple.
accordingly.
I think we had in from the meetings that the commissions have held, I thought we had a sort of a idea for. a
Yeah,
split.
so previously 15 hours were allocated to inland wetlands, 20 hours were allocated to conservation. Conservation Commission recognizes that the regulatory needs of the inland wetlands are have more demand, and propose a 17 hours split rather than a 15-20.
What does that mean?
Means the same as what we have here.
50-50.
17 is not half, 17 and a half.
Yeah,
17 and a half, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Previously, Conservation
I
Commission
understand.
share was
It-
20
it
hours.
didn't- The numbers didn't add up to
Yep.
me. 17 didn't add up, but it's even split 17 and a half each. Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Any other questions in the room? Any questions from the Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance listening in on Zoom? All right, any citizen comments on these two agenda items? Citizen comments. If you're on Zoom, you can unmute and state your name or address. If you're in the room, just stand up, say your name and address. Okay. I'm seeing none. I think we're gonna move on.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
have a good night. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item 4C, elections and registrations. Frank McGarry and Eileen Witkowski, come and sit at the table.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, we have bad news and good news. I'll give you the bad news first.
Early voting.
The state of Connecticut has established early voting.
I have gotten mine.
Oh, it isn't enough.
Oh, okay, and I did read it.
And the Secretary of the State estimates that the cost of early voting will be $10,500 a year, excuse me.
Disagree with his math.
Chairman, one for you. Copies for your members who are. pen pals tonight. So Secretary of the State has estimated $10,500 annual cost of early voting, so we have had to add that into our budget, which you will see. The good news is that the Secretary of the State has also issued a grant to the cities and towns in the amount of $10,500 to offset the cost of the early voting. So if we back the $10,500 out of our spending budget, considering it's offset by the grant, we're left with a net increase of $693 in our budget, which is 0.9%.
How long does the grant last?
Uno,
1 year.
1 year.
So in other words, we're screwed next year. Why even bother? Why don't we just take it now?
Well,
Well, Bill already took it now. It's a moot point.
no,
I'm taking it another way.
The check is not only in the mail, it has been
The
delivered.
revenue of these things, yeah, right.
Okay.
Any questions? Start in the room. Any questions?
Citizens or
Just,
no questions?
just board members, sorry.
I thought you jumped.
And no, I'm not even gonna get into it because I get it at home. I don't need it.
Go ahead, get into it.
No,
It's not
I'm
the
good.
person.
No, I hear one more thing about early voting at home, I'm gonna vomit.
Any questions from the Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance zooming in?
Thank you, Eileen, for coming.
Well
We're
done,
very-
Eileen.
Bad news, bad news.
Any,
And it's only the beginning.
No, I know.
any citizen comments? Oh, yes, Valerie Clark.
Melody Clark, just a question, if we've already received the money. I'm 105 Elm Road, I'm sorry, I say it so often.
I know, but it's.
I appreciate that, thank you for asking. We've already received the money. How's that being handled?
It's actually in a separate grant fund, a dedicated grant fund for early voting. Outside of the
Will
budget,
Move
right, exactly,
when we have early voting
Right.
in the next budget.
right, because it does cross.
It's a calendar year.
Right,
Any other questions in the room or on Zoom? If you're on Zoom, just unmute and state your name and address if you have a question for the registrars of voters. All right, we will move on. Thank you both very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
your
you for
time.
having
That was
us.
quick.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Chairman.
put you to light up.
At 10:30.
We're gonna have-
We all will that way.
Will.
All right, we will move on to agenda item 4, which will be Thompson Hill Fire Department. Chief Brower, you are online. And I will pull up your budget sheets unless you have something that you would like to present outside of that.
No, you can bring that up.
New section. Zero section. Okay. Okay, give me just 1 second. I should have brought me. All right. All right, Matt. Chief Brower, you are good to go.
Okay, I'm not sure if you want to, what format you want to use, if you want to go line by line or how you want to do this.
It's up to you.
I could just hit the highlights, I guess.
Yes.
And some of our income, we were down last year. It was 2 reasons for that. In our donations and fundraising, we did not hold the chicken barbecues last year due to increased prices in chicken and supplies. The profit that would have been made from that would have been so small for the man hours that it takes that we decided not to do it last year. We will do it again this year though. Second to that, one of our biggest boot drives that we do of the year is coinciding with the flea market at the Thompson Speedway. This year, we combined with East Thompson and had a combined boot drive that weekend. And all the Teague benefited from that completely. So we ended up in that boot drive, we actually gave Teague $4,000 from that weekend. That would have went, a lot of that would have went into our fundraising. The town support we know was flat from the year before. And we're asking for 83,000 this year. Back when we go back to 2022, we did not get the full increase that we had asked for. Did not get the increase last year, and we were asking for 83 this year. As we get into the miscellaneous income, there is state of Connecticut does give stipend reimbursement for highway accidents. So that's a bit of somewhat of an income stream, I guess, through that. We're also this year, and I'll get into it in our expenses, but we're also going to be asking the town to kick an additional $3,000 for the housing of the ambulance. Like I said, I'll get into that once we get into the expenses. Income last year, you'll see we had a $55,000 line item for other. That was a United States US USDA grant reimbursement. I had written a grant the previous year to purchase SCBA. It was $110,000 expenditure for 10 SCBA. It was a 50% grant, and they reimbursed us this year for it. So that's what that large miscellaneous increase is there. We won't be getting that again this year. So that's just our normal kind of incomes. So we get into expenses, normal expenses pretty much, where we start getting into this potentially we're hoping to get a grant through FEMA to replace our radio system, and that'll be about a $6,000 amount that we have to kick in to the grant. So that's part of that radio $8,000 increase there. Where we get into where I was saying about we're going to be looking for the town for more reimbursement on the ambulance, on the line 32, the electricity. When we got into the agreement with the town back in 21, our expenses for electricity was $1,500 a year. And now we're at, last year we spent 31, so it doubled between 21 and 23. Other expenses are pretty much on par. Nothing crazy. When you get down to equipment, you'll see that last year we spent the $103,000, which was for the SCBA that we purchased. Again, 50% reimbursement, which came in the income side. This year, our gear is going to be outfitting 2 new certified firefighters. That's at about $5,000 a piece, and then we have additional miscellaneous turnout gear to replacement, helmets, gloves, etc. As we move down, tools will be up around 7,500. That we have to purchase a new water manifold for water supply. That's in our budget this year. As we move down again, nothing, everything else should be on par. Building expenses and repair, not looking at any large building repairs, supplies, nothing like that. Vehicle expenses. If you look at last year's, we had a $20,000 592 expense. Large bulk of that was our 2 trucks needed complete brake jobs. And that's not like having your personal vehicle serviced. So that was a large portion last year. We had to replace tires and brakes. Fuel, again, on par. That's just cost increase of normal increases. Then as we go down, oops, scroll a little bit. Yep, education and training. Last year we spent slightly more than previously, but we did have a 2 firefighter 1 certifications and a firefighter 2 certification. This year we'll have an EMT and fire 1, and I'm sorry, two fire 1s and an EMT for that $4,000. Professional fees are NFPA, nothing big there. Office supplies, last year we purchased a laptop for our treasurer. Nothing big, just office supplies this year, paper, all that kind of stuff. Medical expenses, those are for the necessary equipment that we have to keep on the rescue, Narcan, epinephrine, all that kind of stuff. Fundraising last year didn't cost us anything because we did not have the chicken barbecue. This year we plan on having the chicken barbecue again, 2 of them, hopefully. And that's kind of been on par for everything else on there. So that brings us down to the bottom, that after expenses, projected expenses next year, we're looking at a surplus of 35,000. And we'll get into that when we get into the capital. So this capital assets, that nothing that we really need to, I don't think we really need to go over. That's just our equipment, the building, etc. We get into the capital expenditures for year 1 out through 10. We need to replace our 1997 Jeep service vehicle that has been becoming problematic with repairs. In 2026, looking to replace Rescue 484, which at the way rates are going right now, that $300,000 may not even be enough to cover that for a basic rescue. The big problem is that when we get into the 6-10 year time frame, that's when we have to replace our frontline ET1. Trucks are going up $50,000 to $100,000 a year at the rate we're going right now. So we're looking at an expenditure in about 2009 at $7,000 to replace that frontline piece. So that when you see that surplus, that or projected surplus, that's what that is going towards. So then we get into our cash and investments, you'll see where that is. Just a basic breakdown. We don't have to really go line by line on that, but some of them are in our apparatus fund. Last year, if you looked at the sheet, the way this looked last year, there were also CDs that were earmarked for the SCBAs that we purchased. Again, that was $100,000 we had to cash in, and then we were reimbursed the $50,000. Now we have just the apparatus fund that these are broken apart into. So forward looking, we're trying to replace that truck in 2029 or so at a potential $700,000 to possibly $800,000, and that's why we're keeping that surplus at about that rate at the $30,000, $35,000 a year, so that we can put that into this fund, so we can purchase that truck. Just a couple of notes on that. Just again, for keeping, some may say that if we have $35,000 in surplus, that's, we're getting enough money, but in 14 years, SCBA has a lifespan of 15 years. So in 15 more years, we're gonna have to spend another $125,000 in today's dollars. In 14 years, that may be, $150,000 to $170,000. So we're also earmarking some of that, surplus goes into all of that, planning ahead. This was actually a note from, I think last year where we were saying it was 650 in 29. But better estimates are around 700 now in 29 that we're gonna have to account for. And we roughly keep our expenses around $50,000 a year, barring any large repairs on trucks, which anything can happen at any day, and they can be very expensive. They could be a $20,000 bill very quickly. And right in today's dollars, the minimum without doing anything excessive, $83,000 would keep us on track to be able to do that.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Any
Thank you.
questions? Any questions from the board here in the Senate room? Question, yep.
I did. Could you scroll up to the, right there, the
Right here?
date?
Here?
The date, yeah, nope. Yeah, right there. So the date of the CDs are all 12/31/23. Those are the dates that they were issued?
No, that was the reporting date.
That's the maturity date?
No, the reporting date.
The reporting date, thank you.
Right.
So, and if you scroll up a little bit more, nope, the other way, sorry,
Okay, scroll
down. The one at Key Bank, that's the one that you issued to cover the cost of the gear that you bought? I guess, Chief Brown, how should we think about the balance that 50,000 or so came out of that? And the rest of it would be in reserve, would be basically CDs or cash reserve.
I'm not sure which key bank are you talking line 51
48,
or which?
I only said that one because it was 11 months.
These are probably 1099 numbers as of the 31st of December,
Right,
which shows the base plus the
Right.
interest.
yeah, I got that. I went down a path of those being the issued or maturity dates. That's the end of year value.
Wow.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is the gear that you bought for 110,000, you got $55,000 grant. Did the
Right.
other 55, is the other 55 already spent, or is it coming out of one of these? Is it
No,
coming out?
that was already spent. If you look at number line 51, there's 61,000 in there. That was reimbursement that has not been rolled into I believe that's the one that hasn't been rolled into a new CD yet for the reimbursement.
So the 55's coming out of that 61, or it's already been spent?
I think they.
No, it's been spent. It'll be transferred to a CD.
The reimbursement.
The
has not
reimbursement
been
will be
invested yet.
Right,
Right,
right.
Right. All the
spent
costs have already
110.
been.
right. There you go. That's it.
Right. So we spent 110 out of last year's. It was actually the year before that we
I just
we
caught
spent
up
it.
with,
This year was
yeah,
right.
I just caught up with everyone. Thank you, Chief Grauer. So, where in your income is the town contribution, or I shouldn't even say contribution, but the town, not the base contribution, not the grant from the town, the value of the town supported some of the added costs for housing the ambulances. Did
That's
that get-
under
Row 7.
That was in
miscellaneous.
Town reimbursement.
It's right there in miscellaneous.
Right. Yes.
That 5,500 and 23 column.
And it was 5,500.
Right.
Okay,
Well, that's not all. That's not all town reimbursement. That's also the different reimbursements that we also get.
Right.
I mean, it's not just for the ambulance. There's no, I mean, this is the form we're provided with, so we kind of pigeonhole our expenses where it looks correct.
Yeah. I understand. That's where you placed it. And it wasn't just for electricity either. It covered heat.
No,
and-
there's, right, there's,
Other elements as well.
there's heat, there's plowing now.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, thank you, Chief. And thank you for housing our ambulances. That's something that you did without a real agreement on the fly. And I think the town did the right thing by covering those added costs. So thank you for doing that. That's all I had, Chair.
Any other questions in the room from the boards? Make sure that's clear. Any Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance questions from the Zoom audience for Chief Grauer?
Hi, it's Suzanne. I have a question. Can
Yep.
you can, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I just would like to, Matt, I usually ask for the audit reports, and I know you usually provide them. I didn't see it, but if you would send it along,
will do.
thank you.
Hey, Matt, this is Ken.
I can.
Just a quick observation. You may have had this money tied into a different account. Was the medical expenses? You said for Narcan, et cetera, you didn't show anything for the last 3 years. Did you have that in a different line
Well,
item previously?
It could have been slightly, but that's also, you don't have to purchase everything every year. They do have a life. The problem is like when you AEDs, the pads expire like every 2 years. There's there's certain things that are cyclical, so it's not. Honestly, I can't tell you whether. We may have just moved that into that this year, so that was broken out.
Okay, because I know EpiPens, Narcan, et cetera, they're all on different expiration dates.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
was just-
like I said, I can't be 100% sure, but we may have just moved it all into one to make sure that it was separated.
Any other questions from the Zoom audience for the Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance? For Chief Grauer? All right. Thank you, Chief. We will move on to the next line item.
Thank you.
Okay, it's line item 4E, East Thompson Fire Department, and I know I did see Chief Fournier, and I'm going to pull up your budget sheets.
Thank you. I am here.
Hey, Ron. Ah, I picked the right one.
Sure.
All right, Chief, you're up.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to highlight?
I'll just go down like Chief Grau did. The billing income last year was 63 from what we provide Speedway and other items. Donations were 1,500. Fundraising, we were lucky enough to make $3,000. Last year, we had a great following for our clam cakes and chowder. We really did well. The chicken barbecues, we barely made anything off of. Town support was level at 71.2 last year. This year, we're asking for 83. We're hoping to, and you'll see down further, we're hoping to add some radios and some air packs, which we haven't done in the last few years. 2,500 for the Whiting Estate, which is based on money that they get from stocks, so they're gracious to send it to us. $200 on other stuff people have sent, which is our total. So we're looking at around 154 for this coming year. Wages, we paid out the 29, we're estimating at 35. Payroll taxes are pretty much, they stay pretty close to the same. The radios, other communications and radios. We're also trying to get in on the grant with the other stations to get some radios. The radios now are around $1,200 a piece. So we're hoping we can get some through the federal grant. None of the 26 departments that applied for the last year through the federal grant, even with a permanent, a grant writing company, we were not even lucky to get that. So let's see, electricity, gas, oil are pretty much the same. Going down further, gear. Last year, we had to do 2 sets of gear that we do every year. And then we had 2 new members that we sent to Fire One. Same thing, we're guessing it looks like we're gonna have over the next year, the 2 we purchase every year, so we stay current. And then we have 2 new members that are looking for Fire One. So it'll be 4 sets of gear. A little bit down further, under vehicle repairs. Last year, we had some expensive repairs. One of our trucks blew a turbo and Service One the pump. So that was $15,009 for repairs. This year, we're estimating it at $7,000. The engine needs all new tires. OSHA requires that every 10 years, we replace all the tires on our vehicles, whether they need it or not. Up a little bit further, $10,000 for building parts and repair that I missed. We need to replace the roof of the fire station. It's about $9,000 for materials and a little bit of labor. Over the last 28 years, before that was done by our members. So now we're at the point where it's leaking and we can't go another winter with the roof we have. Going down further to education and training, 6,000. We have several people that are two for Fire One, and we have 4 EMT research and a new EMT. So that's the 6,000 there. Our debt service is the 20,000. That is the loan we took years ago for the Airpacks radios and to purchase the tanker. Right now, that is written on the engine. So we still have, when you go down further, it's still 150,000 or so on the loan. So we still have a ways to go. Any questions on these?
Nope, doesn't look like there is.
Okay, cash and assets. These have stayed the same. I mean, there's no value change on those for the capital assets. Looking forward down the road, we're kind of in the same boat. We need to keep up on our turnout gear so we don't fall and have to buy many sets at the same time. In the next 10 years, we're going to need to replace our engine. Right now, it's looking at 500,000. By the time the engine comes up, we'll probably $700,000, $800,000 to replace the engine. So right now, we really don't have any other capitals or anything where we're kind of looking at other than towards the engine. A few years ago, we replaced the heating system with members and some outside assistance. So once the roof's done, we're hopefully, knock on wood, in a good state. A little bit further down, monies, and this is where we're at with the last one is the loan. We're at it's less 131,272 is the loan we're paying out.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board members on Zoom for Chief Fournier?
Just, hi, it's Suzanne. Just wondering if you can send along your audit report.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board members on Zoom? Board members here in the Cine room, any questions? All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. And we will move on to agenda item 4F. Chief John Sharp, who's here in the room. Let me pull up your worksheet.
Gotta go pee.
You can come sit right at the table if you'd like.
We'll be able to hear you.
Hold on.
All right, I guess we'll just kind of follow through just as the other two chiefs have. This calendar year, the billing income, and from previous years, it's been the balance of what was left in the ambulance side of the billing before it was turned over to Putnam. The remainder of the outstanding receivables, which are still pretty much insurance in the hands of the insurance company, is about $7,000-8,000. It's laid out there. So it tends to trickle in incredibly slow at this point in time. So we've only gotten $30 for this calendar year, for this past calendar year for the billing income. Donations, $1,330. You'll see a sizable difference in the fundraising from 22 to 23. We did do a letter drive for the community district for, we had to take $25,000 out of our savings when we were doing the floor repairs for the firehouse. So we did do a letter drive, which did generate just under 25,000 towards that reimbursement that we took out of our savings. Again, flat funded from last year, 71,200 for a total income of 104,634. To highlight some of the increases in regards to what the other chiefs had said, radio communication, we're also looking at upgrading our radio communications to P25 digital radio system, which is what most of the communication dispatch systems are going to. Interoperability between state trunk system with the state police and so forth. Radios are quite expensive. We're looking at about $1,200 per radio. And again, that doesn't cover all the vehicles or portable radio systems that we do have. Electricity, the oil, which tends to be a little steep. Our propane, which we typically only use for our kitchen and our oven. Garbage and recycling. We did get rid of the dumpster that we had for our station. We're now, members do have their own dump permits, so we're using that to try to cut down a little bit. That 2946 was when we were getting rid of a lot of the debris and so forth from the floor repairs. Water sewer, that stays pretty consistent for the town. I think we're the only department that has water and sewer. The others are on their own private wells and septic systems. Alarm system, that doesn't change. Computer expenses, I do have one old computer that is running on a much older system that can't be upgraded, and one copier for my office that's fairly antiquated. As the other two chiefs have said, the gear itself, the turnout gear, I like to do at least 3 sets each year. I do have boots, helmets, gloves, and so forth in a little bit of a surplus, so that 9,900 would be just for 3 sets of turnout coat, turnout pants. Tools and equipment, about $2,900 that we had to expend this past year to upgrade some of our hand tools and equipment for the fire apparatus. I don't foresee any major changes at this point to any of the tools or supplies. We didn't have many expenditures for repairs on the equipment, meaning hand equipment, portable equipment and so forth. But I did also put in there for $1,000 because as like anything else, things start to break as the years go on. Under the building, that 21,000 from last year was also part of that floor expense. This year, we were fortunate we didn't have anything for much for the building. However, the building was built in 1930s, so it will obviously need some upkeep as time goes on. The two man doors that come into the building are all rotting away, so I need to replace those as a security to keep people out and so forth. Building supplies, just a standard building supplies, toilet tissue, paper towels, cleaners, that sort of thing. One of the bigger expenses that we've had, vehicle expenses over the years, as you see, 14,900, 22,100, last year was 38,700. As most people have seen, the old tower truck is on the side. We did retire that due to the fact that our next expenditure to get that NFPA compliant and OSHA compliant was going to be about $60,000. We did search out for a newer truck, which we do have. The initial cost of that truck, what they were trying to sell it for, was $55,000. We dealt with the company in Pennsylvania and we purchased the truck for $35,000. It's 10 years newer. It does have its own pump. It does have its own tank, so it's a self-supportive truck compared to the old one, which we'd have to back up with another engine to supply it with water. So we made the decision as a department to try to get rid of the old one, which we've already sold. We have a couple more things that we have to do to the new one and swap over a couple pieces. That one will be sold. That one was a selling price of $8,000, so that'll go back into what we purchased the new one for. Fuel expenses, fairly cut and dry. Education and training, I do have one person that is, one member that is looking at going into the Fire One program, and one person that may be going into the EMT program. Those are each about $1,200 a piece. Professional fees, that's just what we normally do for all our year end and quarterlies and so forth. Office supplies, fairly cut and dry. Pretty much everything else. You'll see that the debt services for the last couple of years has been around 30,000. This year's 29. Reason being is because the 2008 KME heavy duty rescue is paid off next month. That was a $2,200 a month expenditure. With the new loan that we have for the tower truck, which is only $500 a month, we're looking at only a $6,500 debt service for this coming year and future years. With the savings that we're going to have with the old rescue, or with the rescue truck being paid off, we expect to pay that new tower truck off within 2 years. We did have some travel expenses. That was for the new tower truck to get out to Pennsylvania a couple times to bring it back, and some expenses there. Anything at this point on those, what we do have?
John, on the water and sewer.
Yep.
Are you accounting for Connecticut Water going for the increase?
All it is we're paying water and sewer just like any resident would.
Yeah.
So we don't, I haven't gotten any increase or notification.
For an increase.
Then at
They're
that,
asking for 18%, but the word is it's probably gonna be between 5 and 7.
okay, I did not have that because I didn't have those figures.
Something to consider it.
Yep.
They'll get something.
Yep.
They're not gonna get 18%.
Yeah.
Worries me because I get quite a bit of water from them.
Okay. But that, no,
Something to keep
the answer to your question was no.
Okay.
John,
Yes.
do you have any estimates for your donations and fundraising for the next calendar year?
I don't. We don't have anything. That the letter drive was pretty much ended. I believe about the middle of February is when we decided to end that. Is that what you were asking?
Well, normally you have a certain amount that you, between your suppers, etc., your different fundraising, that you have a ballpark figure for
I don't.
donations.
I don't because we don't know, and I know that talking with the other chiefs, we had decided that we weren't gonna put that figure in because if you have a terrible year, weather-wise or whatever, we don't know. I mean, history dictates that it usually ends up being about 14,000.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, I had a follow on. Is that you didn't get to putting the estimate in, or you?
No,
You
I
specifically
left it out
put zero?
because fundraising can be,
But it's probably not zero.
it's probably
If you threw
not.
a dart, it probably wouldn't hit it.
It's
zero.
probably not, but again, I can't predict I can never predict roughly what we're gonna do.
Budgets are invariably wrong,
Yeah,
but you gotta put the best estimate.
well, I know that years past, all the chiefs had decided, and I think it was last year, we decided not to put fundraising in because you could have a terrible year and have zero. Typically, you know, for reference purposes, history has dictated it's been, well, 21 was 3,500, 22 was 11. The years before that, I believe was around 14. I can put whatever you would like, 10,000, 14,000. I know that we decided not to do that because it's not a definitive item. But again, if you want, I can certainly put that in as a figure. Whatever.
It's not necessarily what I want. I think you gotta put in what your best guess would be, and if you need to be a little conservative on it, then be a little
Yeah,
conservative.
John, I'd put something, you know, even if it's, if it's usually right around 14 and, I mean, I'll take the church, our church over here, our Lutheran church, I mean, we lose money on the dinners. I mean, it's not worth putting the dinners on because by the time I buy everything and then we spend 3 days getting together, I've lost money.
Right.
So I certainly understand that, but I think conservatively, if you're thinking, it's between 11 and 14,000, if you put something like a 6 or 7 or 8.
I would be comfortable putting 10 in there.
Yeah.
I would be comfortable.
Well, that would
putting
help
10
on
in there.
our side.
That's fine.
I think a little something. Each
fine.
fire department should.
Yep.
They do fundraisers and we all participate in them in some way.
Then in that case, I'd be more than happy to put 10 in.
Frank
Bill, you
McGarry
want
comes
to
to
add
my
that?
house one more time and makes me buy tickets for something. I'm gonna, so we know they're doing something.
Third Saturday.
Yeah, I'll make note of
That's
that.
right.
We almost never look back.
Yes.
I can make. note of that.
Although we have to do that.
Getting on to capital assets. Is everybody okay with what we've got so far?
I think so.
Okay, capital assets, obviously just basically the equipment that we do have. Some of it is starting to show its age. Looking at some of the capital requests, as the other chiefs have done, one of the biggest things that we're coming up against is obviously our SCBA's or our air packs. They're starting to see its life expectancy. 2,200 PSI, 4,500 PSI. Basically, that's the pressure in the bottles. We're looking at going to all 4,500 PSI systems. They tend to be a little bit more economical, but you're getting more air out of them for longevity. Turnout gear, I like to be on a 3 or 4 set per year program, just because of the expense of the turnout gear. NFPA dictates, or they like to say that you do not have your first due out piece older than 20 years. And engine 181 is 20 years old as of this year. Average replacement value, these are new pricing. There are used vehicles out there. As we just stated, we did purchase a 2000 tower truck. But again, 700,000 is about average for an engine. My fuel expenses keep going up every year because my furnace is about 25 years old. We're trying to get some more definitive hard figures as far as a furnace replacement. Did consult with one of a vendor looking at that system and the way it's zoned. It's probably around a $65,000 expenditure to replace. Miscellaneous equipment, that could be anything from hoses to hand tools to applications to appliances they're using in the trucks. I had put the addition to the station in a while ago when we were having the floor issues. The floors are done, they're complete. Nobody can give us a definitive time frame. They will not put a stamp on how long those will last. We're hearing 10 to 15 years. Looking at that $60,000 a year, looking as a mortgage for a yearly payment. The apron out in front of the original station is all coming apart. So that needs to be ground up, regraded, repaved. And then one section of the roof, which is the hose tower, which is the tower you see the highest point. It's a flat roof. That's all coming apart. I've got leaks coming in. We've been kind of patching it, but it really needs to be redone. And then the metal roofing that was done, I want to say probably about 15 or 20 years ago, the seams need to be, I guess, regrouted or whatever they call the sealant between the metal sheathing and so forth. So that's that $20,000 figure. Moving on to cash and investments, we do have that ambulance, the balance of the billing, or we have an account still open for the balance of the billing. These figures are from January 31st, what's in the accounts. I think that pretty much covers it.
Any questions for Chief Sharp in the room? On the Zoom, board members who have questions for Chief Sharp?
If I could ask,
Yes, you can.
this is Suzanne. John, was that a fundraising of $32,000?
That was total. That was the 24,000, just under 25,000 for the letter drive that went out to the community district. And the balance was different fundraising that we did throughout the year.
I just want to applaud your department for that effort because it certainly paid off. That's wonderful.
Yes, we're very
That
thankful
is,
for that.
yeah, that's wonderful. I have asked the other departments, and it wouldn't be fair if I didn't ask you to provide us with your audit sheets, or audit report. I know in the past you have not done audits, but I thought maybe you had changed your system and could provide us with them this year.
I don't have any audits, unfortunately, Suzanne. I can certainly give you any sort of documentation that you would like when it comes to the budgets and so forth. I can give you financial statements from.
That would be good. Financial statement would be helpful.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can certainly do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions from the board members? All right, thank you, Chief Sharp.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so, let me just accept these. The next item on the agenda is also a fire department. West Thompson Fire Department, agenda item 4G. However, Chief Whipple said he could not make it tonight. He did stop into my office the other day and we kind of reviewed his budgets. So I'm just happy to show them to the board, so at least we know what he was looking for. So let me just pull his budget up and we'll just kind of look through it quickly together. Pulling it up. All right, so just a quick overview, 83,000 for town support. He's not listing fundraisers either. Moving down to expenses. Most notable, if anything jumps out, I'll just kind of leave it here if something jumps out. Most notable was the gear. He did state, so that's on line 45 on the Excel spreadsheet. Chief Whipple said that it was his intention to purchase 3 sets of turnout gear in addition to the usual gear that he would purchase. Under tools, he had referenced a thermal imager and a 4-gas meter. Moving on down. this here? Is it okay if I keep moving? It's kind of the
Keep
same.
moving.
Okay. Education and training, he said, they're anticipating at least 2 firefighter 1 classes and an EMT class coming out of education and training. And as far as their debt service, that is for the tanker loan. Yeah. So roughly putting them at a surplus at the end of the year of $24
Plus their fundraising.
plus fundraising, because they do have fundraising.
$1,300, so let's put in 500.
Yeah, they don't have much.
And I'm not laughing at it, they're not very big.
Yeah, no, they're not. Okay, so capital assets. It's their equipment. He did want me to note that they do still need a boat, which isn't listed here. Right.
That's their existing.
Where is it? Yeah, they're existing. They have one, it's just
So-
really old, isn't it?
Oh, maybe, is it in the asks? There it is.
It is in the asks, yes. So their 2 capital requests would be rescue boat for, well, they've been asking for it for the last few years. And then 4 cold water rescue Mustang suits, roughly $1,000 a piece. And I can't really answer any questions, but if anybody wants to look at anything in more detail.
And they're cash on hand.
They have that. Ooh, he doesn't have that.
Down,
Oh, there we go. No.
down. Yeah, look,
Down,
you
further
already
down.
know.
I was all the way down, maybe. No, did I?
Oh.
There, nope, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. General checking, government money market, hometown bank CD and chief's account.
So just scroll down so I see the bottom number, please.
80,000, 81,000.
81,000. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody need to look at anything else on one of these sheets from the Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance? All right. Any citizen comments in regard to fire departments? We'll start with the Zoom audience. Any citizen comments at this time for these fire department budgets? Okay, citizen comments in the room. Yes, Ms. Valerie Clark.
And not singling out any particular fire department, but I just want to compliment community on a creative carry in, carry out resolution to the trash. Good job. And also on the negotiating on the truck.
Great. Any other citizen comments? Chief Sharp.
Just to give the board, some insight. National Fire Protection Association is a governing body which puts out recommendations. It's not mandated, but they strongly adhere to what their timeframes are and recommendations for fire service, how we operate. When it comes to turnout gear, the shelf life is 10 years. Whether it's used or not, after 10 years, you're not supposed to use it for any hazardous environment. So that could be interior firefighting or any areas where you're going to be putting people into jeopardy or harm. So we're forced pretty much to try to stay compliant, and we try to do everything we can. Trucks first due out, like I explained, is 20 years. The expenses keep going up, but again, the governing body of NFPA is also one that goes by OSHA standards. So should there be any problems, OSHA is going to come in and recommend that we look at NFPA standards, and did we adhere to them? That's why we try to bring that to light. But I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Great. And Chief Sharp, what is your address since you're speaking as a
I'm
citizen?
sorry, 6A Laurel Ave.
Thank you. All right, any other citizen comments? All right, we will move on to agenda item 4H, TVCCA. TVCCA.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good.
My name is Jocelyn Honvo. I'm here for Eugene Theroux,
Yes.
the Director of Nutrition Services, and I am the Assistant Director for Senior Nutrition.
Amy, can you volume for?
I will try to get the volume. Okay, do you have a presentation to show us tonight, Jocelyn?
No, he did not give me any presentation.
Oh, okay. All right, so the ask for this year, it's $13,310.
Yes, it has increased. I believe the previous years it was about 10,000.
Okay,
So we provide two programs for those who don't know. We have the Congregate Meal Program that provides meals to seniors at the Thompson Public Library. And it's a hot lunch, Monday to Friday. We also have the Meals on Wheels program, where we deliver meals to homebound seniors. And we have on Mondays and Thursdays.
okay.
So, based on the fiscal year 22-23, we served a total of 144 clients for the town of Thompson, 98 clients for the cafe program, 46 clients for Meals on Wheels. Those are unduplicated clients. About 4,700 meals for the cafe and 4,600 meals for Meals on Wheels. So the meal.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Amy St. Ange. What were those numbers again for the cafe, the number of meals?
4,700 meals for the cafe.
Okay, and then Meals on Wheel?
4,600 meals.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. The Meals on Wheels route is on Mondays and Thursdays, so twice a week.
Okay.
Yes, we bring the hot meal on Mondays and Thursdays, and the rest are frozen meals.
Okay.
The goal is to eventually be able to do the delivery 5 days a week. We've always strived for that.
Right.
We bring nutritious meals. The menu is monitored by the registered dietitian. So the meals are nutritious and well balanced. I think he wanted to stress the importance that also it's not only just the delivery, the drivers, when they bring the meals, they check on the clients for the Meals on Wheels clients. So it helps if they're fallen or if they're not feeling well, we in turn make sure that we contact their emergency contact, or if they do not have an emergency contact, then we call the police so we can do a wellness check on the clients. So it's not just the meal, it's also making sure that we check on the seniors. And so we ask for help from the town because our program is not fully funded. We get assistance from the state and federal. We also ask clients for a donation every month. We send a donation letter, but we do not turn any clients. If they cannot, pay the donation, we do not turn anybody away. It's a suggested donation of $3 per meal. But we're not an income-based program for the Meals on Wheels and for the cafe. You have to be 60 years of age or older. For the Congregate Meal Program, if you're able to drive and able to go to the cafe, we encourage that for socialization. And for Meals on Wheels, the only other criteria is to be considered homebound, not driving around, because it does not justify us bringing the meals to the homes. So those are the only criteria. That's it.
All right.
If you have any.
Any questions for TVCCA for Jocelyn? Questions from Board of Selectmen or Board of Finance in the Zoom audience? Thank you, Jocelyn. I think this is such a worthy and a wonderful program, and thank you and thank the drivers for what they do as well.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for your continued support. We've had a lot of seniors throughout.
Oh, yes. A lot of lives touched.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Citizen comments, any citizen comments at this time? In the room. Citizen comments on the Zoom audience. All right, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to agenda item 4I, probate court. Gabby Lavani.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
No, not at all. So how I do my budget is that we have a court budget. And then, because there are 7 towns that support my court, I allocate cost per capita and then allocate each one per town. So last year, it was $1.20 per capita. This year it's staying the same. So last year I asked and received from Thompson $11,022, and I'm asking for $11,027 this year. So basically the same. Two big things that are changing with the court this year is that we will be moving. We're currently on Hospital Hill. We're looking at moving hopefully to the former Putnam Town Hall. So
Stick up on that hill. I've been in that.
we've had lots of issues. We've had safety concerns. No, that's okay. No.
Caught me off.
No, that's what we're looking at doing. We're moving to hopefully the 3rd floor, the front of it. The build out is gonna be paid for by the landlord. The lease that we're negotiating now will include water, sewer, all the utilities. It's a flat monthly rent. We had looked at moving somewhere else, and that was just not gonna happen. It was just too expensive. So it looked like we're moving to the town hall. One of the things that I want to look at, telephone, $7,000. So what's happening this summer is administration is making all the courts go to fiber. So administration is telling us it's going to be $300 or $400 a month more. That being said, we actually are not bundled at all. We have, let me see, we have BreezeLine for cable, and we've got BreezeLine for internet, excuse me, and Frontier for phone, and that's over $500 a month just for those two. So we're looking at bundling and getting those down. What's going away, which was hopefully it will offset the cable. I mean, the fiber, is that microfiche charges are going to be going away. Every few thousand pages of files that we have to send to a data set, and we pay a microfiche fee. We just paid $1,200 for a couple of thousand pages. So hopefully that will be going away, and that will offset that. So my chief clerk and I, we have a list of items that we want to look at to try to cut down cost. Copier rental, I don't think we need the big fancy copier that we currently have now. It's a lease. I don't think we need it, because when it was leased initially, we did a lot more copying. Right now, all the attorneys, most of the parties, they have to file through a portal. And when we send out notices, it's through the portal. We don't mail them anymore. So we don't make those copies. And, we pay on a postage machine. I'm not sure that we need that anymore. I'm not sure that it warrants that. And we pay $100 a month for that. So I'm not sure that we're actually saving postage to warrant having a postage machine. So those are kind of some of the things that we're looking at.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Questions?
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
question about a recommendation. I switched in my business over to fiber, and my bill got cut in half.
Good.
So you want to call,
Frontier.
Yeah.
In Putnam, I believe.
I used Comcast.
What's the BreezeLine putting it all over Putnam? They're putting something
I
in
don't know.
all over Putnam.
See, I'm not sure we're gonna get a say much in fiber because administration is coordinating all of that. So, but yeah,
No, BreezeLine.
Well, get a competitive quote to show.
Absolutely.
Mine got cut in half.
Thompson, I think is.
What
I know,
Yeah.
I know from the landlord at the town hall, the old town hall, that fiber is already there. So it's already hooked up. It's already there. So,
I didn't mean to joke.
no. It's not gonna look like it does now. He's promised a renovation.
Yep. Any questions?
Can I make a comment?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Hi, Gabby, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm glad to hear that you have found a new location, and it sounds like it's a perfect location, actually. Looking forward to visiting and touring. But I just want to comment that I really like that you are considering the cost of everything and looking at it and trying to find more affordable ways to do things, because that obviously that impacts us as a town. And I really like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, Gabby.
Thank you.
Thank you for that budget.
Yeah, we appreciate that greatly.
That's the point.
We'll just buy back.
We have $5,
0.05 we round.
$5.
There's $5. There was, well, that's because we got more people than last year.
Any other questions for
We got four more
Gabby,
people.
for probate court and Gabby?
Thank you.
I feel bad cutting it to $5. I'm gonna let it stay.
Any citizen comments? Citizen comments regarding the probate court budget? All right, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you all.
We
Have a
will
good
move
night.
on.
Thanks, Gabby.
Nice seeing you.
Gabby.
Feeding you.
All right, agenda item 4J, we're moving right along. Public health, NDDH. And I know, is Lana in?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is
Okay,
Melissa here too?
Pardon me?
Is Melissa here too? I thought I saw.
Yes, she is here, and the reason I'm talking right now is that my name's on the agenda, but
Yeah.
Missy really is the budgeting brains for us at NDDH. She has had to redo the budget a couple of times due to some unexpected factors, and we're very lucky to have her doing that for us. Our towns had asked her to deliver our figures and our estimated per capita a little earlier in the calendar year so that it would fit in better with your budget process. And she has done that, and we thank her for that. Originally, we had tossed out, last year, I think we tossed out a 3-year projection, which called for a $1 increase this year. And the town officials, you have some town officials now sitting on our finance committee. So when it came to the vote this year to revote on that $1 increase for this year, there was quite a bit of discussion on the merits of balancing out the per capita versus the fees that we charge. So we have, as a result, increased our fees instead of and so that we could keep that per capita as low as possible. And in the end, our finance committee passed a motion to inform the towns that the maximum increase in per capita this year would be 80 cents, which would bring us to a $9.30 per capita. And I think Missy can pick up with the charts.
Yes, that's what you had.
So our budget line item, as you can see, is one line in your major budgets. We provided to the towns the itemization of the $9.30 to show what the general and administrative costs are to NDDH to provide the service to the town of Thompson and all the other towns in our district. Our budget is $1.8 million. And the town is expected to pay a per capita rate, I believe, is $85,000, if that's correct, $802. So the information that was submitted out to all the town leaders showed individual fee costs that were going to change from fiscal 24 to 25. It had a 3-page budget, itemized lines all the way down so they could see where NDDH gets their income sources and as well as what we're applying them for expenses. They were provided a graph to show that NDDH, again, how the funding sources are. We have general funds, which is provided by the town, the permitting services that NDDH does, the state per capita, grants and contracts. And then we have a small, we have a reserve account, of course, to show. And then we had shown also an expense report explaining in categories how NDDH spends the money in total. We encompass all our grant money and everything all together. So you get the full picture of what NDDH does here. So we provided a almost like a 9-page draft copy as was requested of the proposed budget. Again, this is just a small portion of the budget. I shouldn't say it's small because it's not, it's a very large amount of money. I know that, like Lana said, there was a process that the state of Connecticut, the Department of Health had sent us out a memorandum at the end of the year, letting us know that the state per capita grant was going to use not the current population grant that we use, but to go back 1 year. So that did change some of our figures, but we did come to, like she said, $9.30, and that's what the board voted on in January.
Did everybody get the packet from Marie? Okay, just making sure that you all have gotten that. That's what Melissa was referring to, so. Because if not, I would have sent it to you. Are there any questions for NDDH from the board members here in the Senate room?
I have a question.
Yes.
The 1.8 million total budget, what is that? How much of that do you get in terms of grants?
Currently, out of that, we get $205,000. So just give me a quick second. That is 11%, and that's what's based.
And the rest of the 1.6 million comes via the towns?
So the general fund, well, the general fund is what we call our town support. That's 46% of the budget. The permits are 31% of the budget. Contracts are 11. The state per capita is 12. And right now, of course, the reserve is very small, so it's a non-percentage. It's less than 1%. That's how we provide that information. In the general budget, it has all of the funding sources, including any interest we make in the banking. It includes it includes the permits, all the permits set aside subsurface, food, salons, bed and breakfasts, campgrounds, any consulting that the environmental health staff will do. It includes small other incomes, like, again, the interest that we make on the state STIF account. We have a dental program that we do a fee for service. So our FAST classes and our food certification management classes that we're allowed to provide, that's all the income basis that goes into that general account.
Any other questions in the room? Questions from the Zoom board members? Any citizen comments at this time? Citizen comments for NDDH? Live or on Zoom? I'm condensing them though. It's quiet. Yes. All right. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great night.
You too.
Presentation. All right, moving on. Yeah, if I could, thanks. No, I put this back in. Oh, I might not need it though. All right, moving on to agenda item 4K. Eastern Connecticut Land Bank, Wayne Bugden, who is here. Hi, Wayne.
Hi.
Let me pull up the PowerPoint.
Hi, Wayne Bugden from the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank, president of the bank. I have a presentation. First, thanks for inviting me to come and speak. I have a presentation, but I'd actually entertain any vote on, do you want to see it, or do you want me to just discuss what I'm here for? if you don't want a PowerPoint, I'm happy to just talk and have you ask questions.
I think I'd love to hear you talk.
Okay.
I will share, you want me to share? I'll share the presentation.
You may.
To
Sure.
everybody? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
send it to them.
It had some information in there. A lot of it's just to keep me on track, so I remember what I
I
said I was
wanted
gonna.
it, but I got outvoted. I just wanted.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, should we have voted? I will send the
No,
presentation
I
to
think
everybody.
Amy says it that great. We
Yeah.
read everything that we
If,
get.
if
so.
you're okay with that,
Yeah.
then we'll have a conversation if that's okay.
That'd be great.
So, first off, again, thank you for inviting me here. I'm here to ask for a donation. The town of Thompson has been very generous the last 2 fiscal years. Has given our organization, I think, about just under $4,000 in the last 2 fiscal years. I did want to ask what people know about what the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank is. As if there's some, and there was a little bit in the PowerPoint about that, but if I need to explain a little bit about it and what we do, I will. Otherwise, I'll talk a little bit more about what we, do you want to hear?
I'll take a 30-second synopsis, yeah.
Okay, so the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank is a nonprofit corporation that was established in accordance with the state statute that went into effect in 2017 that enabled land banks. They're not land trusts. They're basically established to work on behalf of communities to help them deal with the toughest brownfield problems. So in Thompson, think of 630 Riverside Drive, the former Belding Corticelli mill. And for that matter, the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank was formed really in response to that property. Mary Ann Shinati and myself began it because we had been working together on this along with which was once called the Belding Corticelli Improvement Committee, now is the Mill Sites Redevelopment Advisory Committee. It's obviously been a big heavy weight around the neck of the town and for anybody who wants to see a change. And so when the land bank legislation was passed, we decided that Eastern Connecticut needed this. We needed to do something. We needed to create an organization that would address this problem for the towns that are too small to have the capacity to do it on their own and are and are disproportionately burdened by big mills and big factories and places that have, were once the lifeblood of the community and now are kind of a real deterrent. So that was the reason why we came into existence. In a real nutshell, what the land bank can do and is set up to do is basically whatever the communities that we serve want us to do within the rules and within our eligibility to bring technical capacity to bear, to financial capacity to bear to fix these problems. So that can be anything from people on our board. Right now, we are just a volunteer organization. We have money in the bank that we aren't spending. Some of it came from the town of Thompson the last 2 years. Essentially, what we have is a bunch of passionate people who are giving of themselves, who are on the board, and some other volunteers who, some very generous pro bono services from an attorney at Halloran and Sage, who helps us out with legal matters. But we haven't spent a penny other than a membership that we in a regional brownfield organization. And the reason for that is we are trying to get to the point where we can hire staff members to do the things that we really need staff members to do. We find ourselves hamstrung by the fact that we don't have staff to do sort of the daily administrative functions. And also the fundraising activities. We basically are doing this on our own time. And we would love it if somebody joined the board who had nothing but time on their hands and experience in this kind of thing. So far, we haven't been able to find those individuals. Lacking that, what we've been doing is doing fundraising, doing outreach, and whenever a community comes to us, we try to mobilize what resources we do have to help them out. So, for example, when the town of Thompson calls and says, somebody's interested and wants to come in, and it's happened from time to time. They want to come in and talk about 630 Riverside Drive, a developer, for example. We want to go there, and I have some personal experience with it, so I can give them some environmental perspective. Basically, that's what we're doing right now. What we intend to do is what the land bank, the power of what the land banks can do. And if you're familiar with land banks at all, they really kind of came out of the Midwest to handle imagine large tracts of empty residential properties, and so sort of the Rust Belt part of the country. Connecticut decided, instead of creating land banks that deal with these large tracts of residential housing, they would focus on, we didn't have the problems as much of large tract, large areas of vacant housing. We did have these industrial properties. So that's what the legislation was focused to address, and that's what we would like to do. In addition to essentially giving free advice and consulting and trying to mobilize resources, the one thing that we could do as an organization that we're eligible to do is to acquire properties, clean them up using funds from state and federal grants, and do all of these other manner of things, clear title, do whatever is necessary. There's a lot of legal things so that the property can be turned back into productive use. We aren't at that point yet because we don't have the staff members to basically manage projects like that. That is our ultimate goal. In the meantime, we're going to continue to do everything that we can do. But right now we've got about $80,000 in the bank. And as I said, we've spent the grand total of about $110 in the last 2 years. Everything else is basically, about $180. And that includes a PO box. Other than that, we haven't hired any consultants, although we'd like to. We haven't hired any staff, although we'd like to. And we're very grateful for the contribution of the town. Just so you know, we're asking for $5,000 this year. It wasn't a number that was pulled out of the hat. It may seem like that, but there's about 30 communities in the area that we serve that have brownfields. And if every one of them gave $5,000, we would have enough money to not only hire a full-time program manager, but also to pay them benefits and really be a robust organization. So it was a number that we felt was fair. We would love every town to follow if everybody did what Thompson has done, we would already be very robust. And a program manager, part of their job would be to basically keep themselves fed by bringing in more money. We don't have that capacity. So again, that would be a key thing for our organization. That's better than a PowerPoint, I think, maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions? I'll let you.
Any questions? In-house on Zoom, any questions for Wayne?
Have sharply the letter.
Yep.
Campaign.
Ken?
No, I'm pretty
Okay.
good with this. I had to walk away briefly. Wayne, have you gotten any properties donated to the land bank yet?
It's a great question. We've had offers. We don't have the money to be good stewards of the properties that have been offered. And if you can imagine, no one's offered us properties that have a positive value. People are more than willing to hear our story and say, I've got a great property for you. Something that no one is interested in. Ultimately, that is our goal. But no, Ken, it would be it would be our goal eventually to acquire properties, either because a town doesn't want to handle it themselves. Most towns, Thompson is a good example. You've got properties that are tax delinquent. You've got attorneys advising you don't take this property, but where does that leave you? We would like to basically come in on a white horse and solve this problem. We don't have any function other than to serve the towns in this capacity. And we're very anxious to get there. Just one last thing I will say. Last year, we were instrumental in getting the state of Connecticut, the legislature, to pass Public Act 23-57. It was a capacity building grant to be given to allow money to be given to land banks. We had asked for it to be set up. I think the initial ask was $300,000. It would, in whatever way the state felt like it could give that out, whether it would be in disbursements over time or whatever. After it got through the legislature, it was brought down to $50,000 with a 1-to-1 match, and about 20 conditions that we have to meet in order to get that money, which will be dispersed out in like small amounts. and I'm grateful for it. I believe me, but it wasn't the shot in the arm that we were hoping for. But this is our kind of our lot in life. We're moving forward, struggling. And one last thing, we also have a plan to partner with CCOG. One of the ways that we can do what we can do is to take advantage of other existing capacity. The state expects us to do this. In retrospect, maybe the legislation should have actually set us up as a quasi-government agency or something like that. We were naive in thinking that we could do this all as a totally independent organization. But maybe that's not to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any citizen comments at this time? Citizen comments? All right. Moving on. Agenda item 4. L, M, N, O, P, and Q. Joe Tasek. You want to come to the table?
No.
Got a
Yes.
thing?
Man of the hour.
You guys had it easy all night. Now I come in.
Save the best for last.
Oh, this shit's comfy.
Nice and warm. isn't it?
All right, so we'll start with town garage. Town garage.
We can go right to telephone with our landline, with it being $224 a month to keep that landline for monitoring the fire system. That I think has stayed the same. That's what it has been, and that's what it has to be. We have no choice, and it all depends on if they do get a different landline, if they do the fiber optics down the road eventually, like they are throughout the town. The estimated increase on the electricity was what it went up this past year, and just guessing that it'll go up again another 10%, which I'm sure it'll, if it doesn't go up 10%, it'll probably go up a little bit more. We took some money off of the building because I did a lot of small building repairs with different contractors, with the doors, which I still have a little bit more work to do with the doors. I wasn't able to schedule them in, but I had some temporary roof repair with some leaks that we will be addressing in the future over the next couple of years. But we did get that squared away. So I was able to not be so scared to have that money in the bank. I was able to drop it down a little bit, which more repairs will be done as the season gets better.
What do the boards think? Go through everything and then go back for questions? Okay,
Okay.
all right, we'll move on to Public Works.
Public Works and the salary, we're kind of still waiting on that with contracts.
Right.
So there's really not much to say on that. Outside contractors, I believe, yes, outside contractors. I brought that up a little bit. I almost double that price because I'm using that for guardrailing repairs on last year's paving projects in Fabian to get rid of all the guide wires and the posts and put in flex beam, which is a lot better and safer for the people too, which it does all need to be repaired, no matter if we get the money for flex beam or poles, whichever. The next one is the tree service. Of course, I'm just asking for more money because it just continues with the trees. The MS4 contractors for the different testing that they do throughout the season, because it's a step process where they just don't test it once. They test it seasonally for all different the applications of the weather, pretty much. Street lighting, of course, with electricity, we brought that up 10% too, because we just figure it's gonna go up 10% because of the electricity itself. On the equipment rentals, you'll see in the capital that I did put in for a roller for doing asphalt work. But also, because I'm just saying that I probably will not get that. It is not top-notch item because in turn, I can rent the roller for a couple of months throughout the summer. A roller is a piece of equipment. It's like a Christmas tree. You only use it for a couple of weeks and it goes back in the attic. So it's kind of, to spend that kind of money on something is not that, it'd be kind of rational to keep it the way it is for now. And hopefully the one we do have last a little bit longer. That was for the roller. Our uniforms, I think we went down with our uniforms because we changed our uniform company and we got to save some money there. On center line marking, I did a lot of center line marking and I was very surprised how much the price went up to get the reflective paint put on the roads that we did have paved and oil and stone. And I'd like to keep doing that because there was a lot of positive response from residents on the lines in the road for the white line, for the yellow line, and a lot of stop bars that are just worn out that need to be replaced. And it's required to be replaced on a reflective value paint also. So it is something that has to be done, no matter if we have the money for it or not. There are things that we do have to find the money, and we do have to make that for safety reasons. Have those lines put in. Water monitoring, that has went up. We don't really have much of a choice of that. That water monitoring service is for all the possible contamination around the facility itself. The fuel, the percentages are in there for what we've used, which we went over, which we get locked in on those prices with contracts. So it kind of we tried to predict what it will be, which fuel prices are kind of crazy to predict because they change per holiday seasons and things that go on to that effect there.
If I could, Joe, those listed in the notes are what we're locked into.
That's what, those are the new ones there? I didn't know if those are the new ones or those are the old ones. Okay. If we can cut across to, I think there were some things like office supplies that went down here and there because we anticipated but didn't use it as much, so we might as well just give the money back because we don't need that many paper clips at the highway department.
We'll take it for finding.
Well, and also things for equipment repair, which the price on that, logistics in general, just to get things delivered, not only the price of the items that we're getting, just delivery prices, UPS and everything else has skyrocketed and it's become quite crazy. So bringing that up for what little we did, because we didn't max everything out this year, but just for the small amount that we did pick it up, I think that'll keep us in the safe zone. Not on catch basins, but on drainage. We have some extensive work that is gonna have to be engineered on Bonnet Ave. That is pretty much beyond us because a lot of those catch basins are beyond our control, like 12 to 15 feet deep. That's beyond our equipment. That which I've gone to construction companies and there are different ways to fix them and not just dig big holes in the road and replace it. They do have different ways of repairing them with fiberglass to make them last 10 years, so on and so forth. So they can be repaired on a shorter basis. I had all intentions on doing some paving there until I got into the infrastructure in Bonnet Acres, which I cannot do the paving until all the infrastructure is safe. And we will also be doing a lot of work on Wilsonville Road because of Route 200 being closed in the year 25 or 26 for approximately 9 months. They're going to completely close Route 200, which will turn Route 193 and our road, Wilsonville Road, as detour roads to get to East Thompson. The only way you'll use Route 200 is to get onto the highway. from both directions. You will not be able to get to the common from town. And I do want to address the catch basins on Wilsonville Road before the traffic does get on it, because then we're gonna, if we run into a problem in the middle of a detour season, I'd like to be on top of it before it happens. Get that, not pave the road. We'll let the road get beat up by the traffic, but it's gotta be safe. The catch basins can't collapse on us halfway through the season. And then I'd like to maybe even try to work with the state a little bit, because indirectly, they're using our road as a detour road. I know they're gonna disagree with that because their detour road is Route 12. And then it gets to Wilsonville to get to East Thompson. Well, you're not gonna drive all the way to Webster to get to Bonnet Acres. So gonna try to get them maybe to flip some of the money for some of the asphalt repair of Wilsonville Road. If they can give us a little bit of money, every little bit will help. So we can work on that in the future.
You won't get anything if you don't ask.
Exactly, but, and we don't have an exact, we've had some construction meetings, but we do not have an exact day, time, season, because we were also talking about emergency services with that for school buses, fire departments in the wintertime having to go from one end of town to the other. It'd be nice if you could do it in the winter. In the summer, it's a lot easier than doing it in the winter and making it difficult for everybody, especially ambulances, having to get across town for an emergency.
Joe, why are they closing 200?
The two bridges for the highway have dropped down, and they decided that they're gonna do it all at once, which you never see that. You go up the highway, it's always one lane.
Right.
They're taking both bridges out, and they said 9 months, eight or 9 months that they would completely do it. But they're not doing the railroad bridge, which that kind of surprises me a little bit, because if something's going, something's going. So eventually they're gonna be coming back to do it again, to do the old railroad bridge.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just fill it in with dirt. I don't know what their game plan would be with that.
And then one other quick question. You
Yep.
said on the Bonnet Acres culverts, you said engineering work. Is the 7,000 for engineering work or? Is
Oh,
it
no,
to
no,
fix the culvert?
I didn't get the engineers in there yet. I don't know what the pricing will be. I'm hoping the repairs doing the polycast, which I know they do that with sewer lines and things like that, but I don't know what it's gonna cost yet.
Okay.
But the engineer, I'm gonna have to pay for the engineers to come in and give us the ideas on what's going on. I got one company to come in and to do it like we would do it, dig it up and repair everything. Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that route. We're gonna figure something else out that's a little more efficient.
Hey, Joe, this is Ken.
Yes, sir.
Question, since they're gonna do the two bridges, north, east and westbound, northbound, whatever,
Yep.
depending on how you look at it. Have you asked them why they're not tackling the airline trail bridge?
No,
'Cause it doesn't make sense.
I haven't yet, because we just met, the last meeting, which was a while ago, a couple of months ago, we just met the construction company, and they still haven't gave us they gave us the reason, but they're still up in the air on how they're gonna tackle it. There was 3 different proposals. The state engineers didn't come up with one yet. But they also said those bridges had dropped. So I'm assuming if the highway bridges drop, the old railroad bridge dropped too. And when we do have our next construction meeting, which I'm sure is gonna be coming up here in the springtime, that is gonna be one of the questions I'm gonna ask, because if it's gonna be a hassle to do it now and then do it again in another 4 years, I don't understand. I don't understand why they redid the road completely when they knew the bridge had to get redone anyway. That really doesn't make any sense to me, but it all depends on what money they had allotted to do those bridges too.
No, it doesn't make sense at all.
No, it really doesn't.
All right, that'd be great if you can,
Yeah, definitely. I have not heard or gotten any emails from any of the construction that's supposed to be taking place there. Okay, we're at ground.
Ground supplies and parts.
I'm putting in for more money for summer help, because in turn with the construction, what I was just talking about, and paving that I'd like to do, I'd like to get some summer help for the whole summer to get a lot of our parks and keep them clean, to go out and hire at least 2 people and maybe one of our guys with it, depending on what we have for available staff and the projects that will be going on over the summer. But that's why I upped that. I doubled that price there so I could hopefully get 2 summertime helps for at least 3 months out of the year. Transfer station. It still shows on here for the, and that all depends on how, union negotiations go for the $1.50 for 4 hours for the operator at the transfer station. Electricity, I'm sure there's gonna be an increase on that, which I must have overlooked that. But I'm sure there is gonna be an increase up there. The tipping fees, which are contracted as of right now, but compared to the last 3 years, I think they went up 10% every year. That's what it seemed like, at least. So we just predicted that next year, when the new contract comes up, that it is gonna go up 10%. We're also gonna be hosting Hazardous Waste Day this year, which I am not locked in on the exact date yet, but it is in the month of June. I'm waiting for Winston to get back to me. So as soon as I get the date that's locked in, we will be putting that on the town website and everything that we can do, because that's paid for through that for advertisement. But we'll do all of our free stuff for our website and everything there. We've been working slowly at the transfer station to get rid of some of those old truck bodies, and it's just been a very slow process. I'm gonna be talking with the selectmen at the next selectmen meeting about getting another container in there so we can eliminate some of the other containers that we cannot close, lock, which we are supposed to. We're gonna be getting some sea crates with doors on the side of them. So at the end of the day, we can lock that. So if any kids are up there or anything like that, trespassers, that they can't get into any kind of hazardous material like motor oil or battery acid or anything like that. The repairs to the railings and the blocks and the pressure washing, that will be ongoing. That paragraph will be in there every year for the next 20 years, because that's what we have to do. We just have to keep the updates and make it safe and keep it safe for all the people that go there. Our scales as we go down for equipment and repairs, our scale needs to be not replaced. I don't want to use the word replaced. I'm just hoping that the parts are still available or the parts are repairable. We had a little bit of an issue with where it was off, and we have to keep that scale. That's the Ways and Means that's registered through the state. So it is a public scale, and I have to keep my eye on that. And the company Able Scale is getting back to me with a repair for that scale. And it has to be done during the summer months because they can't get in there because there's water that flows underneath it and drainage that freezes up. So hopefully this summer that they'll be able to repair that at minimal cost, and we'll pass our next inspection to keep it a public scale. Cemetery is basically staying the same. Everything has been going quite well there. Norma has been doing a lot of work. I haven't talked to Norma in a little bit, but she did a lot of work in the past. And if we can maintain it, we can keep that cost down to nothing. As long as we can keep it clean, pretty much. I think that's about it for the budget. Oh. We have to talk about that. Actually, the most of that's staying the same because of the way the seasons have changed over the course of the years. I don't want to get into global warming or anything, but not a lot has changed. And we haven't exceeded our salt budget, which is good, which is very good. And for the meals, we're gonna be probably going up, but that all has to do with the union contract and the cost of meals, which whatever restaurants charge, which is going to be minimal, and I hope it will stay minimal on how much time we have to put in.
Sorry, just one second. That's contractual?
Yes.
Okay.
With our salt, it changes through contract every season, signing a new contract. I'm kind of displeased with the Morton Company at this present time. Their service has kind of fallen down a little bit, and it makes me nervous when they don't show up with material when a storm's coming. I've looked into a couple of different ones. Their prices are not better, but their service is better, so it's something that I will probably be discussing with finance and with the selectmen to see if it's an option to get better service for another extra $1. Is it actually worth it, or can we hold off the way we have? Getting a new salt shed, we may be able to hold a little bit more material, but we don't have that critical point to where we're running low and we need it now. I think that's something we should just stay right with where it is right at this second, and we'll work with what we have. We do have a lot of friends in towns in the area to where if we run into a jam where they help us out, we help them out when the help is needed. And we can go to capital.
Sure. You want to go to capital?
Question from.
Yep.
Unless you want to go back and do.
Any questions?
I don't want to go back.
Just a comment, if Bill could, just when we get back, when we reconvene, if you could take a look at any adjustment in permits for the transfer station. So what would the net be? We see the increase. Is that, maybe it's zero, but if it's not, is any of that offset by a rise in permit fees? You don't need to answer it now, just think about it first.
Yeah, we have that 1 year one, and then the other one, the capped landfill, which is the 5 year.
But you're talking about permit
Permit.
purchases by residents.
Talking about income coming in.
Oh, income coming
Yeah.
in, oh.
Cost to run it's gone up 37,000. Are we offsetting any of it? Maybe the answer is zero. Maybe it's none of it. Maybe it's all of it.
It was discussed.
No.
It was discussed.
We're not.
You have an answer now.
It was discussed at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. It was pushed a little bit further back. I know Suzanne, who's online, but had said at one point, you know, a lot of this will depend on where the budget comes out as far as whether or not we consider an increase. But I do have a sheet showing what the increases would yield.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll share that with the Board of Finance.
Super.
I'll send that to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, capital.
I
Yep,
just
go
got
ahead.
one
Yep.
question on the snow.
Yep.
Because we're talking about the salt. If Bill has got these numbers, if he could put together, you know, what the increase has been for the salt over the last few years, showing, you know, 5, 10, 15%, et cetera. Because it can be a little bit of a, you know, looking at those numbers, you know, because of the way the winters are going, sometimes it doesn't look like we're using as much, but when you're spending more money per ton and it's going up by 10, 15%, et cetera, it kind of give us what that track record is, you know, for the increases. Our usage may be down, but the costs keep going up. So, you know, while we're thinking we're having a mild winter, we're still spending the same amount because of the cost of the materials going up.
Bottom line. Will do, Ken.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions before we move on to capital? All right, move on to capital. What you got for us, Joe?
You're gonna love me. We have a loader, which I put in for a loader last year. And well, I'm gonna put in for it again this year, and I'm sorry to disappoint everybody that the loader went up $110,000 compared to last year. It went up $10,000 in the last 2 months. I got a letter that updated my November quote. And it's gonna go up next year. I'm not saying we gotta buy because it's gonna go up, but I'm just saying next year, it is gonna be, it's just gonna keep going up and going up.
So Joe, is the 250 catching all of both of those increases?
No, no.
Please tell me it catches the $110,000 increase?
It
There
there is.
No, Joe, just tell them no.
No, pretty,
It's gonna go
pretty.
another 10 the next month.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
yeah.
got, and,
Tell 'em
and
no.
the problem that it is with that right now is when it goes up, I heard that the date for today we order it,
Yeah.
it's gonna go up again before we receive it. And there's over a 365-day waiting period on the piece of equipment.
So should we, I guess my question is, is that $250,000 wrong, grossly understated? Should we be?
No, I don't think
Okay.
it that far off. I didn't feel like bringing over all this stuff. I'll grab it.
Looking at the capital just real quickly, is there, Joe, can you put a priority rating on these 3, 4, 5 items? If you could, so that way.
Actually, if you're looking at the same sheet as me,
Yep.
that I would put as that's how my priorities would go.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's why you put them in there like that. I
Yeah,
think,
we
yeah,
talked
pretty
about
much.
it that way, yep.
No, I just want to make sure, because it can get flip-flopped. This is, if we're buying a piece of equipment, this is the one that we need next.
Yeah.
So we'll
Based on the cost of repairs, et cetera, age.
Include the 10?
And so that way,
And then this is plus that's
Add 10.
plus the 10 for the tires.
So we're okay at 250.
We're right on the edge, right on
now,
the edge.
If you buy today.
If you buy right now.
What do I have to do to get you in a loader today?
Well, not that I'm trying to be a salesman or anything, but the loader that's at the transfer station from the last month of 2022 till I believe this was January of this year. On repairs on the transfer station loader, we spent $19,253.08 on repairs, which is definitely a payment on a new loader. I know there's only so much you can repair before the thing's brand new. I do understand that, but anyway. The loader, the mower is a dual purpose piece of equipment. That will be replacing the 1445 John Deere 4-wheel drive front mount mower with a 6-foot deck. The one that we have is 22 years old and I couldn't get it running this year. The one that I got the pricing for $54,000 also has the cab, the snow blower, a mower deck, and a couple of implements from our old one, which will fit the new one, like a sweeper for cleaning things in parking lots or whatever we need to use it for. That machine also being 4-wheel drive, we need the 4-wheel drive mower for a couple of spots, like up at the soccer field, which we weren't able to do last year. I don't think even if we had 4-wheel drive, we would have been able to do it because it was just constantly wet and rained all summer long. But that machine would replace our grasshopper, which in turn, the grasshopper, I already talked to the school that I can give that to them and they will have some use for that. So that can become a hand-me-down. It's still in good shape, but it's only designed for flat surfaces, which may work great for their fields or their outer fringes on around the newer track and things like that in baseball field. It may be a perfect machine for that, which it's not the perfect machine for us climbing hills and going around corners. It doesn't quite work well, but that's okay. And I don't know if anybody saw the paperwork on the body swap. We have two machines, two trucks. One of them is a backup truck with a very good stainless steel all-season body on it. And the other one has a sander on it that's a permanent sander, and the only time the truck moves is in the wintertime. And I would like to take the body and do a body swap from one truck to the other to make the truck with the permanent sander a more useful truck to have an all-season body, so it just doesn't sit there for 6 to 8 months out of the year and not get used. In the older truck, I found a body at a reasonable price to turn that into a strictly dump truck, which it still will have a plow on the front for an emergency service if we need it. But we will have a construction truck, so we can put heavier pieces of rock, logs, whatever, stumps, whatever in the back, and not worry about doing any damage to the trucks that we do use for our winter support. In the future, roadside mowers are definitely, we're coming to the point to where we're gonna have to seriously start thinking about that. One of them is over 25 years old, and the other one came in with a program through Eversource, which is about 15 years old, but we weren't the only people to use it. I wanted to get rid of that mower and trade it in, but it wasn't cost efficient to do it at the time, because with the 3 different towns that used it, it really got beat up pretty bad, and it's treating us well right now. A 9-ton truck in the future, I'm always gonna push for new trucks to try to get us into a frame of years other than 20-year-old trucks that we're using, down to 10-year-old trucks, because the maintenance becomes very difficult on the older trucks with logistics for the parts, and they change trucks so quickly and so often to update for all the tier standards that a lot of motor parts are becoming difficult to get for trucks that are only 10 and 15 years old. Makes it kind of difficult for towns and just owner operators. The roller that I put in there is a ham roller with a 57-inch double vibratory roller. A very nice machine. It's something we can need, but in turn, it also is, I talked about it, it was back in the budget for renting a machine for the summer for when we need it. It's something we should purchase in the future, so we do have it, but we would be okay if I can time everything with all the asphalt work and rent it for 2 months, and those will be the months that we do really hammer out the asphalt work that needs to be done. And I think that's it. Paving.
So real quick on the roller, we need the roller or we don't need the roller? Thought you were gonna.
We do need the roller, but we can rent one, basically, is what I'm saying.
You can rent it, you can rent it for $3,000 and spend.
I understand, but they're both in here, so I'm asking you. do they-
Yeah, well,
should they
that's
both
what
stay
it
in here,
is.
or should
Yeah,
a separate one come out?
the price is up, because I know right off the top, you're not gonna give me $70,000 for a roller.
asking for both, but yeah,
And
I-
it doesn't make sense for you to give me that money, but I have to put in for it, because that is gonna go to next year.
I got it. Okay.
I think the point too is, yes, we want the boards,
Yeah.
we want the public to know that we need
Need
the
it.
roller. And it's actually going to be difficult, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, for you to coordinate
You can rent it. for-
the 2-month
That's-
rental.
That,
What if-
that's,
What if something else takes precedent and then 2 weeks you can't, or there's rain? So
what if
then-
it rains for 2 months? That's the difficult part.
Right, it'll be a challenge for scheduling.
Exactly.
It would be it's much easier to have one in the shop that you can use anytime you want. But we know that it's probably not gonna end up in this budget.
And
So we're realists.
I will understand if you look at me and say, you can go rent it and we will save.
really
We'll
much.
save 60-something thousand dollars.
For this year.
For this year,
And
but
next
it.
year, and the year. after.
But it is something we're gonna have to purchase. It also can be something that I may be able to try to find used. Auction wise, gov deals, somebody may be getting rid of one. it's something that I can look in. It's always nice to have a brand new piece of equipment. Yes, it is. But with something that only gets used for 2 months out of the year, if you're lucky, 2 months out of the year.
Christmas tree, you said.
Exactly, exactly. Gets put in the attic and you forget about it.
Okay, thank you. We can move to.
Paving?
Paving.
Paving.
Sorry, unless people online have.
No, we'll wait until the very end.
$710,000 for the paving. I have some quotes on roads here, which the price has gone up immensely in the last year. I did 5 roads last year for $900,000. I priced out 3 roads for $700,000 this year. So the price has changed immensely. And using the Beta Corporation's review of the roads, I picked out the roads and a section of a road that I think that needs to be done with a full reclamation on it. And with our road aid that'll come in, we've had a lot of damage from the storms that we had in January. Which the 2.5 roads that I want to pave this year, those are the only roads that are going to be paved this year. The other roads are going to be repaired because of washouts, undermining, and there's nothing I can do about it. I have to fix those roads to keep them safe. And we will be doing in-house paving on them. I'm not going to hire anybody out to do skim coating paving. We may even, where the roads have undermined, we do have to remove the road, put some gravel and compact it, and then replace the section of roads. And it's gonna be sections all over town where the roads were damaged beyond repair, pretty much. We just threw gravel in it and in millings and rolled it in and with the loader or whatever we needed to put it in just to make the road so they were passable. This summer is gonna be full of road repairs to catch up for those 2 storms that we did have in January. The 700 will be our progression in getting the town over the course of years to get us back up, to get our roads within standards so we can do less costly repairs. Instead of digging roads up, we'll be able to do a little bit more oil and stone crack sealing and things like that. But we got a setback with January. With January's 2 big rainstorms and snowstorm and washouts. So we're just gonna have to work with what we have.
All right,
All I got. Thanks, Joe.
questions? Any questions from the board members? Here or online? Any questions for Joe and Public Works? All right, thank you. Oh, citizen comments. Any citizen comments? Ms. Valerie Clark.
Valerie Clark, 105 Elm Road. I've got 4 things, sorry.
Okay.
Big presentation. First of all, I'm horrified to hear about this Route 200 project. Thank you for bringing it up. This is a road that is essentially center in the town, key. We need to treat this as a town, as an entire project that affects every single budget that has gasoline in it. Because everybody is gonna have to be diverted. It also is a time addition to divert, change routes, when that's the direct road to the highway department, to the school. So thank you for bringing it up. I think the state of Connecticut should be paying time, gasoline, and other, as well as road use reimbursements to this town for that work. And I keep wondering how much of that bridge drop is from when it's hit.
No,
That was
different bridge,
193.
different bridge. That was 193. This is Route 200.
Okay, thank you.
I haven't heard about any repairs on 193 yet. They haven't come up with anything.
At the same time.
Just cut off the top of Connecticut for now.
So that was my anger spiel, the big one. My other 3 things are repetitive for some folks, so but first of all, I've said this publicly before, I think Joe's doing an excellent job. And I think you heard it here with his thoughtfulness in the presentation of the budget. I have also said, for the health and welfare of the citizens of this town and our waterways, I do not want to see any money spent on glyphosate. None. And I understand why we do it. If it is proven that it is causing cancer, it is ruining our waterways. And Marla Butts did an analysis of the impact. I don't want to see anything special. And then the other item that I would like to see some pushback, more pushback, and I know we already do it. Is I don't think, and it came up 2 nights ago in a budget meeting, I don't think Eversource is doing a good job on treating the trees. There are trees in this town that they may not fit in there this many feet from the street and this many feet up. They may not fit there. I watched them sit there with chainsaws cutting down things I could have cut with my pruners.
I'll have them post online. Before I came here, I stopped in at the office and I got another email that Eversource is gonna be in full. I don't know if you got the thing.
I haven't seen it, but.
Yeah, that they are gonna be working in town. And I got some paperwork to sign for areas and things like that for property. And we can put it on the town website so everybody can read what Eversource sent to me. And because they're looking to do extensive work. I don't know where, because I just read it, but I will find out from, I think it was Sabrina that sent it, Sabrina sent that, and anyway, get some, I was gonna give it to you anyway to look at.
They should be focusing on the dangerous trees, that whether they meet their footage criteria or not, if Joe knows what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about my road. I'm talking about the whole town. And, I watched people using chainsaws from Eversource's contractors to cut things that were just brush that
Didn't mean anything.
Chainsaw, and I watched them also taking breaks and people sitting in trucks while other people are working. Eversource is not getting them value for their money. I also saw one particular contractor who probably was billing Eversource for a flagger, who never had flaggers out, including on 193. So Eversource needs us to push back on them so that we can say our town.
Each one of those contractors do different things. If you watch, like, there's Lucas Lewis, there's a Bartlett, there was a couple of different ones in town. And it's all set up through districts with power districts within the town. Their electrical infrastructure in one certain group will be on it. And if they end right there, they don't touch anything else. They only touch whatever they're told, because I've talked with them many times to try to get them to help us out. And they won't help us out because they're the subcontractors. You have to go through Eversource. They have to relay the message. Because going to talk to any of those subcontractors, you're not gonna get anywhere. Because they're not working for us.
Right.
They're working for Eversource.
Needs to be aware that some of those contractors
Are not doing their job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments?
Just a question, but
Yes.
on the same topic. Do we allow them subcontractors to park their vehicles on town property?
Only when they have permission, like we've had in the past, we've had them at the highway garage.
Yes, that's what I'm.
Was it hurricane season or something that we had a lot of them there?
Is there any compensation for that, is what I'm asking?
No, there's not. No, we
Well,
had to
then
go
tell me
fix the
those
mud
someplace
hole that they left there, no.
I'm serious.
And no, but actually, and matter of fact, recently they asked about it and I refused it.
I was gonna say, I don't remember them ever.
And then they never came back because they wanted to, St. Joe's School. Not school, St. Joe's Church. And I said, that has nothing to do with us. Do not go in the parking lot. You have to go talk to them. And I think we tried to contact them and they never went down there because the church probably said, well, if you're gonna be in our parking lot, We want something. Yeah, you're gonna be parking all your vehicles in, there's gonna be coffee cups from here to the Connecticut River, you know, so.
Right.
But they have in the past, like I said, they have in the past, but they have not asked in a long time. I don't know where they park. I don't know where they go. They're hiding somewhere.
Joe, thanks.
Any
Thank
other
you, Joe.
citizen comments?
Joe, excellent job. Well done.
All right, we will move on.
All right.
Thanks.
And so the next few line items, so agenda item 4, STU, blah, 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 is going to all be presented by Bill.
So, right, here we go.
Make it
So-
quick, Bill.
You got it.
He's pumpkin already.
We, you know, took a quick inventory at the end and just wanted to make sure we touched on every cost center.
Yep.
Board of Assessment Appeals. This actually should have been talked about with, Paul Hopkins, minimal changes here, simply the 2.25% salary increase, and everything else was the same. Moving on to School Security Project 2302, had a conversation, with Superintendent Smith. And she wanted me to relay that the school appreciates the town's contribution to help support security up there. And isn't asking for any increase, this year.
Why do we do that?
I think it was originally put in place prior to my time, but
Prior to my time as well.
yeah.
I just don't understand that.
But it's assistance because there are times that we've had events at the school and we do as a town utilize the safety staff. Additionally, when there's evening basketball games, it's just a way of supporting what the school does. It was a new program back during Ken's term, I believe, was when it was initially instituted. Under the guidance of Greg Gillott, it's really been, the ship has tightened up and he's doing a phenomenal job staying within budget and making sure that those
Not
activities.
being critical of
No,
the program.
But that's really where it came from. It was because it was a
The
new
school
program.
expense and, I think we support them in a number of ways. An item in capital we didn't cover is paint the locker room, painting lockers,
We're actually,
45,000.
we're going back to.
You're going back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
For the pieces of capital we have.
all right.
Right.
You'll hear from me then.
All right.
4102 is Veteran Services.
Sorry, I'm gonna go back because I have a question.
Oh,
go back.
That's why we're here. Which one?
The security one?
Yep.
So if it's not in the line item and we do town events that get moved like from the library to the auditorium, would they then back charge us for the security that's needed? Is that
Well-
is that what this is an avoidance of, or?
This is,
We've really, over the last few years, expanded. We don't pay for custodial staff like we used to. Recreation utilizes the space at no, with no additional cost.
Basketball clinics.
We're trying to
Right.
we're trying to just work together as one unit. And when we get to the painting of the hallways, it is a town building. It's not a school building. It's a town-owned building. So. so we're trying
that's
to-
not true.
Let's get down to that, but these are really key off. Let me get to the other.
I didn't bring my gloves.
All right.
Veteran Services. Simply the salary changes. Nothing there. Building Committee 6206. I think there's a very modest increase that had to do with the potential for some additional meetings. Because of the essentially the referendum items that they're overseeing all three of those projects, but as you can see, it's a very minimal increase of $353. Capital expenditures, as I mentioned earlier, this is here to catch anything that we hadn't talked about in the other departments, which if I believe it's line 16 down. Fire marshal vehicle, we talked about with Jamie, he's found a used vehicle. Riverside Park lights, I think we had talked about it with rec, that's the initial quote of 92.5. We also have another quote of 50,000 from a local electrician.
The emergency management vehicle, this is the item that's actually budget neutral. This is the vehicle that will be paid for from the sale of the ambulance and the Humvee. Town hall parking lot, you'll remember this request from last year. That was trimmed from the budget. We spoke about the library items with Allison, and line 22 is a repeat of a request from last year. That was cut from the budget. It's painting of, this isn't the locker rooms, this is hallway
Lockers,
lockers
I know.
in the normal hallways.
I know.
I don't know if you guys have been up there and seen them. There's a bunch of them that are in pretty rough shape.
Which school are you talking about? Middle or
High school. Yep. So that was, it's the same item, from last year. So it's the exact
I
same
understand
project.
that, but I have a hard time accepting it. Things of that nature, I always included in my own budget.
Mhm.
And I think it's like school buses way back when school buses were taken on by the town because the Board of Ed canceled it out of their budget every year. And they should provide for their own rate, that's regular maintenance,
Okay.
and that should be in their budget.
I think we did something
We took it
this
out.
current year, well, this one we took out last year, but this current year, there was something we did up there in the locker room.
That was the previous year.
2 years ago,
That was
we
the town.
did,
It was
yes,
on the
That's
town
awesome.
side, right.
right, we did the.
I'm not
gym
saying it's
locker.
right or wrong, I'm saying.
No,
the
I'm
point is
just
now
saying that.
We've got a history of doing it.
Full redo of the.
Well, it doesn't
So
go
the
back.
work in the
history
locker
doesn't
rooms
go
was
all the way back.
re-epoxying the floors
Yeah.
and repairing the
It was
lockers.
ceilings, it wasn't the ceilings too? I thought it was ceilings.
Going down to transfer, since we're here, you'll recall, we switched the roof fund to now we're calling it the municipal property repair fund. The ask was for 100,000 into the fund that sticks around, to build some balances for future projects. Allison spoke to library maintenance, MS4 retrofit. This is a placeholder because apparently it's something we should be doing. However, last year we cut it from the budget.
Wasn't that in Joe's budget?
No, that was for the MS4 contractor, so the work that
Yeah.
J&D does with sampling, and then they actually do the MS4 report for us every year. This is a retrofit projects. Anytime you do a project within town, you're supposed to be mindful of doing projects that prevent stormwater runoff into the rivers, et cetera. It's an unfunded mandate. So when I spoke to Bill, I was like, let's just take it out because it's unfunded. And so once again, NECOG in their request this year for their legislative session does include some MS4 support as a request. And I do want to say that on the municipal property repair fund, particularly, we're targeting the highway department roof because it's had quite a few leaks over the years, so it needs a whole new redo. So ideally, we're hoping to have some money to do a match with a steep grant, sort of like we did for the library roof. So,
That was the whole idea of building that.
Yes.
For those kind of needs, right?
Yep.
Prioritize them.
correct.
Revaluation we spoke about with Paul, it'll be a $5,000 build up to 25,000 in the future. And the Little League request, you may remember last year's presentation. They were looking for $12,000 a year for the next few years they're working through their fields. They most recently did the first one on the left on Redbridge. The next one would be what's called Barron Field. You guys may remember it as the new Little League field. So that's
40 years ago.
right. They're not so new anymore.
Playing when it was new.
Right. So that's
Believe it or not,
transfers.
I played Little League in this town back in early 50s. I've got pictures to prove it. And, you know, they say the Little League didn't start until later.
So that's capital and transfers.
Before we jump off that one,
Yep.
just, I don't know if they're coming, when we have separate meetings, but last year, the Little League group, you know, they put together one of the best presentations. I mean, it's a significant amount of money, but there's a lot of years when no money went into it. And they really put together a very thoughtful plan to rebuild those fields over several years.
Right.
The first field looks pretty decent.
Oh, they did a great job.
That's like our roads. That's something that touches a lot of people. Not everyone, but it touches a lot of people.
No.
It's your possibly, I'm going to say, they paint those red, it just looks so. What is that?
Sorry, Bill.
No problem. So moving on to debt retirement. So what we'll see here, and actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go to my supporting schedule, because I think it actually makes a lot more sense.
A sheet on this one? No, it's okay.
No, there is a page for it, but
Oh,
I
good.
think the numbers make more sense if we
Okay.
look at it this way. So fiscal 25 will be the first time we see the impact of the referendum projects, the HVAC, track, and security. So what's in there now is, so this, rows 10 and 11. The way, in talking to our financial advisors, the way they'd like, or the way we kind of think it would make sense is to borrow the town's portion on now, first of all, this assumes we get HVAC. That's not set yet. We won't know until March. But in budgeting, I'm budgeting for all three projects. HVAC, the town's portion would be 4.2 million. The track is 1.5 and security is 500,000. What the 248,000 reflects, that's highlighted on the screen, is the interest on what are called bands or bond anticipation notes. Those financial instruments allow you to get the projects up and running, and they let you get a read on how much you'll actually have to fully borrow before locking into what appears down below in interest on bonds and in bond retirement for HVAC and security. So you'll see that you have interest only in 2025. And then if all goes according to plan and we get all the projects, then you have the interest and the principal on those programs, on those projects kicking in from 26 on. We are borrowing a total, well, under this scenario, we would be borrowing 6.2 million, the 4.2 plus the 2. Because we are banking on the fact that as the HVAC program unfurls, we are allowed to submit monthly reimbursement. So we will be constantly chasing that reimbursement through and hopefully will not have to borrow any funds to float that money. So I'm trying to minimize the town's borrowing. I actually started yesterday exploring the timelines, because as we get closer, speaking to Bill Birch, it looks like track and security are going to start in May. It is likely that the HVAC project, if we were to get the grant, wouldn't start until the fall. However, in between May and the fall, there will be soft costs incurred in terms of outlining the specs. You'll remember we had an assessment done initially. HF Lens would then come in, build on their assessment, and come up with the actual specs that would be used to put it out to bid. So that's how you see, obviously in 25, we're only talking the 248. Everything else we see here, this is the interest on our current debt, the refinancing we did a couple years ago, and the remaining school roof, and here's the related principal. Down in our notes, we had the two F-250s drop off this year. And these are our remaining leased vehicles. This
you
is
said we
the
had two-
current,
What did we have drop off?
the two 1-ton trucks.
The amount.
It was, yes, it was about it was mid-30s.
Okay,
if I
I'm
remember
just
right.
curious.
Yep. The highlighted truck is the one that is going to be delivered in April, I believe was the last we heard.
Oh, okay.
For this year.
That was approved.
Last year,
Mhm.
right,
Yeah,
correct.
we-
So this gives us a full picture, which then rolls to our budget page. Down here. There's one item here that wasn't on the sheet that I wanted to specifically mention to you. Because there is a little flexibility. The loan closing costs here are the financing costs for the bond anticipation notes. We also have the potential of rolling those into the financing when we go to bond. So that is, but I
That's what-
wanted to
that
have this
didn't happen
here.
the last time.
Right. I wanted to
got
make
stuck,
sure that
yeah.
we had this discussion this time. And I also just wanted to make sure we had this discussion so the board knew the option. We could either pay the financing costs up front, or it could be rolled into the financing. So there's some flexibility there in terms of when that plays out. So that
Thank you for laying it out.
covers,
There's
sure,
a
sure.
lot there, and if you hadn't laid it out, we would have been circulating on it for a
Right,
while.
right. I'm hopeful that we might be able to tighten up the timing a little more.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to reduce the borrowing, but I also have to be mindful that if we're doing these projects, we need the funds to pay the vendors.
Two questions. Number one, HVAC.
Yep.
When will we know?
March was the last, we just nudged the state and of course it keeps sliding a little bit, but they anticipate mid-March, I believe was the last.
Second
number.
question is the track. It was my understanding we received a grant towards the
Yes.
track, and how does that affect the bonding?
So the grant was 500,000, if I
Correct.
That's
remember
what I
right.
thought, yes.
And
It's a reimbursement grant too.
right, so we have to spend the money to get it back. And there was the building committee, the last time they discussed it, and jump in if I get this wrong. They had thought of that $500,000 in number one, taxpayer savings. Number two, allowing for some contingency on the project because the $1.5 million doesn't have any contingency built in. And the third thing that they were kicking around was replacement of the track equipment that is in the field house there, because unfortunately it's 30+ years old and it's not any good. I've seen it. We used to put cans and bottles up there and it's pretty rough. So those are the three options. But at least a portion of it would be used
But
for,
we still have to finance the total amount.
right,
So this
exactly.
is a rebate on that. Is that on a yearly basis like HVAC?
You know, I haven't asked on that one. I was, HVAC is such a boogeyman that I had only followed up on that one. I really did
Just
not want
curious,
to
it's
follow
not-
the whole
For, as
thing.
far as the reimbursement, it'll be similar to the steep for the library roof. I think you finish the project in its entirety and then you get reimbursed.
In
At
its
the end.
entirety.
Right, in its entirety, correct.
Mhm.
Correct, lump sum.
Thank you.
Yep.
One question I had, Bill,
Sure.
I'm assuming that there's flexibility to refi later if we need
Yes.
to. I mean, what interest rate are we at?
So
We're all
interest-
hopeful that interest rates reverse back, but
Right.
at an all-time high right now.
What is kind of nice is rates have actually been relatively stable since the referendum, so we're still around 4. We're slightly lower, but not enough where I would change the model at
But
this point.
but we have that option later when nothing's
Yes.
locked in for
Yep.
and what's the period for?
I think it was
20.
20.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. I do have the full amortization schedule. I just didn't go out quite that far on. the
That's
schedule.
okay.
That's good.
The last department is contingency, as everybody knows, my favorite. As you know, we dipped into contingency this year. We're probably going to end up using the full 64,000 that we ended up budgeting last year because of our elevator. And I put $90,000 in there once again, because we tightened up health insurance budgeting quite a bit. So I really think that if we don't have that bit of cushion in health insurance as we have had historically, we really should have something. You know, the amount obviously is up to you guys, but I felt like 90,000 was a reasonable request.
Additionally, we were thinking, so a little bit of padding as well, because all of the raises are at 2.25 and we are
Contractual.
we just are
Right.
getting into our negotiations, so.
Yeah, we really don't know where that's gonna land.
So that won't be completed before
Budget season.
budget season really kicks off, our March 7th presentation, so it would be nice to at least
So you
have something.
anticipate when the contract ends, June 30th, then
I'm
basically?
hoping we can wrap everything up by April.
Oh, that's positive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get a good vibe from the union reps and we had a good first
Okay.
meeting and
So
that's
we
all.
will have a good idea then
I hope so,
prior to putting the budget to bed.
before finishing it up and sending it off to referendum.
Hey, can we have another ask, Bill? Can we just have either every 0.1 or every 0.25% or every 1%, every 1% equals something, some math so we get a feel for
On salaries.
on salary. So if it
Yep.
goes from 2.25 to 2.5, we can quickly look at that and say the 90,000 is way off the map, or the 90,000 is comfortable up to 0.5% or something.
It might not be an individual thing, it may be a flexible thing depending on what they negotiate.
That's right. Yeah, but we'll have a little bit of a barometer to weigh it against.
Which would make it more difficult for Bill.
Any other questions on these final budgets that we just reviewed? Suzanne?
Yes, the emergency management vehicle is in the budget.
It is.
And is that contingent on the other two vehicles selling?
Yes, and it's actually, it's budget neutral in that there will be an offsetting revenue item.
That was my next question. So we're hoping that the vehicles sell before. Do you
Yeah,
see, I mean, it's gotta have the 60,000 in the revenue before it goes
Right.
out.
That was my understanding, that they would use the proceeds to purchase.
Yes,
them.
that was the offset, but if
Right.
it's in the budget here, then we need to have the revenue in the revenue side.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. And we
Okay.
do.
Just double checking on that one.
Yep.
Any other questions at this time?
Do we have a moment for comments or?
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
I'll be really quick.
Now's the time.
I'll be quicker than I was late. One, I found it was very informative. We'll see how everyone feels later, and if this helps position us at a different starting point. We're not done, we're partway through it, but this is informative. And two, many of the departments have relatively controlled their increases. Where we're seeing some runaway stuff is some of these outside, some of the I know they're needed and they provide good services for the town, but they're all in the 10 to 30% increases, and they're big, just a comment. I'm not weighing in, it's just a comment that there's some big numbers. You look at, NDDH is 25% over the last 2 years. It's a giant, I mean, if everything went up 20 across the board, we can't afford that, so. Quick math, so just a comment.
No, appreciate that.
Well, we got more to go.
They were all coming back to it. Killingly just came back to it.
Any other comments? All right, citizen comments at this time.
Just a quick thing on Suzanne's question. I also thought I heard about the emergency vehicle, that purchase, that the seller is willing to hold it for us.
Fire marshal.
Oh, that was the fire marshal.
Yeah, the seller for the fire marshal's vehicle was willing to hold it for us.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're.
They're ordering a new
Able to
one.
generate
Right.
the revenue.
Right. Yeah. Okay, any other citizen comments at this time?
I move we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn from Dave, a second from Brian. It is 8:57. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody,
Aye.
opposed? Anybody want to stay longer?
No.
Okay, we are
No.
adjourned at 8:57. Thanks, everybody.
Just a comment. Are we off?
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, Ah. That's not the.
Example, buying computers all.
Right.